All right. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Xbox 2 podcast on location. I'm one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. And I'm joined by Jez Corden out in the field over in LA, getting prepared for all the gaming goodness that's going to be happening here pretty soon. So I'm kind of curious because he's on a different mic. He's also in a hotel, so you're going to have to bear with us for any audio stuff. I'm kind of going to be looking at it to equalize it as he speaks. So there might be he doesn't sound as good as he normally does. So Jez, how you doing, man? How was your flight?
I am pretty good, and yeah, like Rand said, obviously I couldn't get my entire audio setup with me to LA, so we're rocking a portable microphone right now and my Surface Pro X. Oh, apologies for any potential downgrading audio, but as the podcast grows, maybe we can get better audio equipment in, I suppose. This lavalier microphone was not cheap, man. It was not cheap, so I'm hoping that it's at least adequate for what we're doing here. But yeah, I'm in Los Angeles right now, which is cloudy and a bit chilly, so it's not quite the weather I was expecting. But hey, it's I'd rather that than be boiled to death, maybe.
Right. Okay, so everybody sounds, someone I think joking by saying it's literally unlistenable, but everybody says it sounds good. Yeah, I am turning up Jez's volume as we go, because he does sound low to even me. So like I have like 130%.
Oh really? I mean, I could try and turn it up on my end as well.
Just turn it up a scotch on your end.
If I can figure out how. Bear with me. Bear with me one moment. Because as well, I'm using my. Oh yeah, actually, it is low. So that's 100%. So you might need to turn me down now.
Yeah, let me turn
me
you
down a bit.
Just keep talking so I can see where you're at.
Testing.
Well, just talk to the people. Talk about your flight.
Talk to the people. Yeah. So
yes.
It's funny, right? Because E3 is dead, quote unquote dead. But I've got more AAA meetings this year than I think I've ever had in LA.
Okay.
It's crazy, isn't it? Oh, I kind of feel like Summer Game Fest is actually starting to kick off, man. I think it's actually going to start growing into something that looks like E3 again in the coming years, I think. Right now, it's scattered all over the place. There's like people doing events in hotel rooms and here and different theaters and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I'm really excited about Summer Game Fest. I think it's actually becoming a thing,
Have you ran into anybody else out there yet, or no?
Yeah, actually, I've been recognized once already.
Really?
Which is crazy because it's not even started yet until next week. But yeah, there's I'm here a week early. Like, there's not a lot of stuff going on yet. I'm here early because one of the meetings was yesterday, and I was like, well, no. But they insisted that I come, and so we were able to work something out, and for a week, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna see. I don't know if I can talk about who I'm seeing the next week. Obviously, I'm gonna see Xbox, but there's just a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff I've got coming. and I'm going to be putting some videos up on the Patreon as well, as in addition to Windows Central. And then obviously there's next week's show, which I think Rand we might have to do on Thursday
Yeah, yeah.
because Friday I got meetings all day on Friday, so we're gonna do a rare Thursday podcast I think next week. But yeah, there's just tons of stuff, man.
Yeah, so Thursday next week we might have to do the show because Friday is Friday is also, that's when Jeff Keighley has the whole thing, and I doubt anybody would want to watch our show when there's like new shows to watch. Yeah, I'm turning up Jez's voice more.
Okie dokie.
Because I don't know, you sound good and then like you trail off and it's a little bit lower. So
I don't know. It's maybe the mic's got some dynamic stuff going on or something. I don't know. Maybe it's Discord even. Let me check my Discord settings. Input sensitivity. Output volume? No. Automatic gain control. I could turn. Maybe that'll stop it.
no, we'll just keep on going like the way it is. I'll just kind of adjust it throughout. But yeah. Yeah, so we'll be doing the show on Thursday next week because Friday is going to be pretty busy. And then, obviously, the showcase and everything is happening that weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool things to see. This episode is mainly going to be focused around. I feel like it's time to do the predictions, previews, essentially, of what we're going to see. And a couple other things. Jez is busy out in LA, so I don't think we can do our normal 4-hour show. But every time I say that, we end up doing a 4-hour show. But we're trying to aim for a little bit shorter this time. Since Jez is away. This is episode 318, I believe, on beautiful May 31st, the day before June 1st. Hope everybody is doing well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for putting up with all the audio shenanigans because Jez is in a new place, and as you know, Jez has audio issues even when he's at his own home with his mic he uses constantly. So I knew this was going to be a problem. So for anybody listening later, we apologize for any if Jez sounds a little low or too loud throughout or whatever. This is just going to be like, well, this is kind of how it is, at least for this episode and the next one. So, but Jez has to, was there ever a decision where you were like, you know what, I'm not going to go this year? Like, was there a point where like you decided, all right, I'm not going to go. I'm going to chill at home. I'm going to watch this stuff. We'll do some good podcasting. And then decided, all right, you got some invites and you're like, no, I have to go this year. Was there ever like a choice, or was it always like, no, I'm gonna go no matter what?
I mean, I always want to come here because it's an opportunity to get exclusive information, and also to get out there in front of people like Phil maybe, and ask some of the tough questions.
Yeah, those tough questions. We need those tough questions, Jez.
Yeah. The tough questions that are easily waved away if they're in an email or something. But like it's different when you can catch people in person and find things out up front and stuff. Oh, there's that aspect of it. Also, it's an opportunity to meet people, friends in the industry. Like Colt, to hang out with Colt and Cognito over here, and whoever else is rocking out in LA. So I was hoping you'd pop down,
Nah.
Lass. It's not your bag, right?
Not really, no.
No.
Not really,
Not
no.
really your bag.
Not really my thing. Maybe one day I just, this year last year I sort of wanted to go, but I decided against it, and for most of this year I was never had any plans of going. So when I was invited to go,
Yeah.
I was just like, I basically was like, no, I can't. I'm not gonna go this year. So
Yeah, I mean, this year's a bit strange, isn't it? Because like the industry's in this weird transition and all that kind of stuff. I kind of feel like next year probably things will be a bit more traditional and stable again. Like I think next year, no, we're gonna do our full predictions in a minute, but like maybe next year's the year for hardware and
or this
stuff
year
like
could be
that.
the year for hardware. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, this year's probably for teasing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
but the
like
thing is,
next
if
year,
you tease hardware, isn't it almost like it's almost as good as announcing hardware? How can you know what I mean? Like, one of the things that Xbox has talked about and Sarah Bonds mentioned is like new hardware. And I feel like even if you tease it at the show, that's almost as good as announcing it, isn't it? Kind of? I don't know.
yeah,
We'll talk
maybe.
about that in a
But
little
like,
bit.
I think, yeah, that's there's a. I suppose there's a difference between just like teasing it and doing a full blowout. But
Sure.
I
I
suppose we'll
mean,
see.
I guess there is a difference between like here's what it looks like, here's the specs and the price and all that stuff, but essentially you are making a promise if you tease something and it's like, hey guys, guess what, the handheld, we are working on one, even though maybe we don't tell you when it's coming, but that's a promise to be like, hey, handheld's coming at some point in the future, you just don't know when. And would you want to announce
Yeah.
a project that far out? I don't know, but there's a lot of things they could do. But yeah, I want to welcome everybody into the Xbox 2 podcast today. And we appreciate each and every one of you who listens, whether it's live here on YouTube or later on iTunes and Spotify. If you guys could do us a big favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out a lot. And let me get some of the wonderful shout outs for the Patreon people. We do have the question and answer thread up. I believe you posted it earlier today, so if you have questions, make sure you get them in. So we got some shout outs here. We got Straight Allure, Xbox Dave, Jay Peltier, Thurgus, Christian the Password, Holy Dark Death, Steve Stompy, James Wiseau, Trickstar for Trey, Battered Haddock, Army Dude 52C, Ryan Kipple, Foreign Object, Mythic Marty, Moronic, Donkey 99, Randall Thor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, James Moore, Fantasticals, Katrax, Bright Tundra 1, Trent Super is everyone's Fallout Daddy, Justin Duell, Frank Mariano, PB Broking, Ace T, and Madison, Governor Graham, Dizzy Huff, and Achievement, The Scarecrow 121, Darren Tropey, Prof. JJJ, Ghostface Killer, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys for all your support. We weren't able to do an ultimate because like Jez was essentially flying on Tuesdays and Wednesday, so we couldn't get that done. Are we gonna try to do one on Tuesday this upcoming week while you're there?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do
Yes,
one
we
this
can
week.
probably rock that. Yeah.
Well, Jez is there, and then we'll do the regular show on Thursday because we don't want to skip. And I don't know what we're going to be doing for the showcase. I don't know if we're going to do an episode right at So what is your schedule like? When are you leaving LA? What is your
I'm
schedule
leaving
look like?
a week on Tuesday, so not this Tuesday, the Tuesday after.
Okay,
I've got
and
meetings right through to Monday evening.
when will you be home?
Be home Wednesday morning, my time.
Wednesday morning. All right. So are we going to do a show after the showcase, or how busy are you after the showcase and on Mondays? Or are we going to just have to wait?
Monday's a no-go, man. We'll have to wait until Friday.
We'll have to wait until Friday. Okay.
Yeah. Unless you want to rock out with Cole. Well, Colt will be here.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
sure he'll
saying
come
like a
here.
lot of people are going to be there.
It's no. Yeah, it's a no-go, man. Like my Mondays. I don't know. I'll double check what my schedule looks like. Maybe we could do a show on Monday actually, because I think because I'm in my head the podcasts are in the evenings, but meetings are in the evenings. But the podcast is in the morning my time. Time zones suck. Maybe we can do a show on Monday actually. So
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll keep that in mind because I wasn't really sure what your schedule looks like. Because I know you have a lot of appointments. You're seeing a lot of things, doing a lot of stuff. Are we gonna have a drunk Jez sighting this weekend? I know last time, L.A. last year, you were going around L.A. giving people beans. So
I was. The Sarah Bond that bought the beans.
yes,
And then I distributed them to the people. That was hilarious. But no, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be some alcohol being passed around at some point.
right.
But yeah, well, we're gonna as much content as possible the next couple of weeks. Like I say, I've got this microphone which I'm going to take around so I can make video with my phone, with better audio quality. Obviously, when you're making video with your phone, you've got the phone mics are terrible, but this mic's at least a little bit better. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't have a big team like IGN does, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will see what happens. Anyways, all right, so let's get started, shall we? I guess like the big news of the week, outside of the PlayStation's state of play, which we'll talk about our thoughts on some of the stuff, is surprise, surprise, guess what? Call of Duty's coming to Game Pass on day one. Are you shocked? Is everybody shocked? Like Xbox had said like 3 or 4 times this year that all their first-party games are on Game Pass, but yet there was still that doubt that crept in for some people because of Tom Warren's reporting about there being internal debates about whether or not to put Call of Duty on Game Pass day one. And, well, here we have it, officially revealed or announced, however way you want to put it, essentially before the showcase, because they had a trailer to announce the worldwide reveal of the show on June 9th, at the show, rather. And yeah, Call of Duty coming to Game Pass day one, even on every tier. Well, every tier except for like Core, I guess. It's coming to the console tier, the PC tier, and Ultimate. So, Jez, give me your shocked face. Jez? Oh, Jez is muted.
Is all muted?
Yes.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, there is an aspect to this that I am shocked about, actually.
What are you shocked about?
Not shocked, but there were rumors that there would be caveats. There were rumors there would be caveats. There were caveats that, there'd be a price increase, or maybe even there'd be a new tier. There'd be like different, some kind of caveat. Like people were like, "There's no way they can put Call of Duty in Game Pass. There's got to be a catch, right? There's got to be some kind of catch." There is no catch, right? As far as we know. I mean, everyone's expecting some kind of price increase, but maybe the price increase is just incremental, like inflationary kind of price increase that we always get. But yeah, so far there's no catch, right? Right.
Well, so far, do you expect there to be one? I mean, I'm still expecting a price increase.
Yeah, but how much of a price increase is it going to be?
Couple dollars, I would imagine, on Ultimate End, at least to $18. Maybe go up to $20. I would imagine console probably goes up another $1 or $2. I'm not really sure. Because I had mentioned before that I had heard or thought that there was a new tier coming. It doesn't sound like that's coming anymore. I think they scrapped it. So.
But you think it was a thing and they scrapped it?
Well, I know it was a thing. At least something they were considering on doing. That I'm pretty sure that it looks like, at least for now, they've kind of decided against doing. So I still do think there'll be a price increase. I just don't think they'll have the new tier yet. Maybe they'll wait until next year to do that. I don't know. But
Well, it certainly seems, at least for now, there's no real catch. I mean, obviously, I think a price increase is going to be incremental, right? Um, like I got an email recently that my phone bill's going up $2 again. You know, it seems like everything's going up in price. I was actually shocked how much an Uber costs in LA compared to last year. Like everything is just going up and going up and going up, and people I really feel like people are looking for a catch, or what's the L that Microsoft has to take here with Call of Duty. I've seen so much strange distress from different corners about Call of Duty going into Game Pass. Like, people just can't accept that we're getting too much of a good thing, you know. Um, and now that the goalposts have moved to, like, I had this. There was this whole discussion the other day on Twitter about whose DRM is better. Like, oh, my DRM's better because we paid $70. You know, I don't want to rent. I don't want a rented DRM. It's like bragging about which DRM is better. You know, so sad. But it just seems like we're just getting Call of Duty in Game Pass, and that's all there is to it.
mm-hmm.
There's no gotcha. There's no catch. Maybe there's a price increase coming, but it doesn't seem like there's any big catch here. So this will be the first Call of Duty that I've really played properly in years. I think kind of like I'm someone who just thought I'm not paying $70 what is essentially the same game every year, you know, and like to sort of check it out so easily with Game Pass.
Right.
I could pull a lot of people who are lapsed back in. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked that they're actually putting in Game Pass because I felt that was just like a no-brainer. But I know a lot of people. I don't know. It was weird because I saw some of the reactions from people online, some content creators who were like, "This is the last desperate push for Game Pass and Xbox. If this fails, it's over." But then those same people would have said, "It's an L if Microsoft doesn't put Call of Duty in Game Pass." So for them, no matter what the decision was, it was going to be an L for Microsoft. It's an L if you put Game Pass in, or Call of Duty in Game Pass, and it's an L if you don't put it in Game Pass. You know, there are definitely those people around who are like, no matter what option they chose, it would have been the wrong one to choose. So it's like, you're never going to be able to please those people. They're always going to try to find fault with whatever you're trying to do. And yeah, I mean, I do think that, you know, putting Call of Duty in Game Pass this year is a big deal. You know, I think they're going to be looking at the data from it, how many new subscribers they get, what tier are they going to sign up for, how long do they stay subscribed, you know, like the differences between, okay, well, how much revenue are we projected to lose by not selling these copies at $70 versus, okay, how many new subscribers did we gain? Are they also going to, you know, in my mind, this is also something you could do where you can make some of that back. Because like Call of Duty, you could have an early access, which they do normally. The last 2 Call of Duties have had week early access to the campaign, if you recall. Right? If you pre-order the game, you got 1 week early access. And I sort of wonder if they're going to have people on Game Pass like pay extra if they wanted to play the campaign early. Because I can't imagine they would do give you the option to play the multiplayer early. But the campaign early or zombies early, you know, we've seen them offer those sort of things with Forza Horizon 5, for example, $100 version, and I think you only had to pay maybe $35 on Game Pass if you had it through Game Pass, then you could play it early. They did it with Starfield. I mean, I think Call of Duty is like a perfect one to do that with, where it's like you got people paying for Game Pass, but also you can get even more money out of them. Right? It's like, hey, if you are on Game Pass and you want to play the campaign early, all you have to do is slide us an extra $35-$40, right? Something like that, Jez. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the perfect game to do that. If you're doing that with Starfield and Forza Horizon, then you could easily do that with Call of Duty and try to mitigate some of the cost, or at least some of the full game revenue you would lose by like, okay, these people are signing up for Game Pass, and well, they're gonna want to play some of this early, so give us an extra 35. I would imagine there'd be a tier, or not a tier, but like something like that, an offer along those lines. Then even part of me was wondering, like, what if they had, what if they're worried about people churning? Like, okay, because I did hear about a lot of people signing up for Game Pass to play Hellblade, and they played Hellblade and they finished it in a day or two, and then they unsubscribed. And because they unsubscribed so quickly, Microsoft gave them a refund. So essentially, they were able to play Hellblade 2 for free, right? Now, part of me wonders if Microsoft will like rejigger their whole sign up thing, where you have to, if you are signing up, you have to sign up for like 3 months at a time. You know what I mean?
I highly doubt a lot of people would do it.
I mean, sure. I would imagine the numbers aren't.
I've been told the average length that a Game Pass subscriber hits, a new subscriber, is about 18 months. Okay. I really doubt a lot of people were doing that. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that there was sort of disproportionate amount of people that were doing that.
Okay, let's assume that then. Then what?
I don't know. I was waiting for your point. So your point was going to be that maybe they're going to do something against.
Well, I was just thinking, if you could, if there were a lot of people that did that, you could essentially say, all right, sure, but you're gonna sign up for 3 months. So like you have to give us essentially the cost of the game while you sign up, and you're signed up for 3 months. So you can't just sign up for $10 and play the new COD. You have to, if you're a new subscriber, you have to sign up and at least give us a minimum of 30. But then COD's multiplayer. So that's the thing about this. That's the thing. That's kind of the sneaky thing about this, is that for anybody who's really into Call of Duty and loves the multiplayer, which is the majority of the people who play it, like I'm a weird one. I only play the campaign. But obviously, I know that the money and the whole business is predicated on the multiplayer and how much people are playing and how much people are spending. And to actually be able to play Call of Duty's multiplayer, you have to get Game Pass Ultimate, right? Because there is no multiplayer access on the console, the cheaper console version of Game Pass. So it almost is already like Call of Duty, even though it's on the lower tier, is essentially almost a Ultimate exclusive, because you won't be able to play multiplayer. I sort of wonder if anybody's going to be confused by that when they sign up, later this year to play the game, and they're like, all right, I'm going to sign up for this $11 tier to play Call of Duty, and then they realize that they can't actually access the multiplayer portion, then they spend more money. You think that'll be an issue, or?
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking, like, my first reaction was, but hang on, isn't the multiplayer free to play? But it's not. I was thinking like it's like Call of Duty, but it's not like Call of Duty, is it? It is a premium multiplayer game. There's so few premium multiplayer games now. I'm just realizing as I said that. Yeah, it is weird. I think the Game Pass tiers are strange, aren't they? They're a little bit strange now, because you've got like there's a tier without online multiplayer, which almost makes no sense in a way. It's almost like a vestigial limb. So it's kind of like, one of the expectations that some people were sure Microsoft probably flirting with was like, do we get rid of the console tier completely? And maybe that's your pricing, your de facto price increase, right?
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I don't know, man.
yeah. Let me get some of these super chats. We have Face23 BAKNY with the 199. It says Astrobot. That's it. That's the super chat. Kind of a riff off of my tweet
Yeah,
yesterday where I said Astrobot. That's the tweet.
Astrobot's blowing up, man.
Yeah, Astrobot. That's the tweet. That's the game everybody's talking about from the PlayStation Showcase, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, indeed. Tate Matcher Jujutsu with the 199. State of Play was mid, but they have June 9th. P3 is a coward. Yeah, Tate Matcher
Oh
Jujutsu is
man.
not a fan of Phil Spencer or the multi-platform approach that Xbox is taking. Some people are like, it doesn't matter that the State of Play was mid because PlayStation has another show coming up, the Xbox Game Showcase. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
we'll see how many games there are actually coming to PlayStation, but
that's yeah.
yeah.
Brett with the 2 says, "Who the f is Jeff Keighley?" Jeff Keighley is a premier journalist. I don't even. He probably doesn't even consider himself a journalist anymore, like he used to be. He's a
He's a
host.
businessman.
He's a businessman. Yeah. We have Timothy Strubble with the 10. With the news that the AA title Alone in the Dark 2024 not reaching sales goals, seems pretty depressing that unless you're a AAA title or a live service game, you have no chance. Thoughts? Well, I wouldn't necessarily put Alone in the Dark as a reference point as to
Yeah,
hey, this game failed and it was AA, then so all other AA games are going to fail if you're not AAA or live service. I think it's because Alone in the Dark was a bad game,
sorry, Mom.
right?
Like, I've been told before that one of the reasons why game reviews still exist and publishers still like game reviews and all that kind of stuff is because Metacritic score is generally a really good predictor of what your sales are going to look like. Like, even if you are a AA game, you can expect XYZ amount of sales because of the Metacritic score. And that isn't necessarily because everyone's going on Metacritic and using Metacritic to decide what games to play. It's because Metacritic's just like, well, if it reviews well, then the word of mouth is generally going to help push the game sales, right? So, but at the same time, I do think like this is one of the benefits of Game Pass, because like with Game Pass, you've got like an install base that are readily available to try out a game that maybe they'd look at and think, oh, that's mid. If it's in Game Pass, maybe they'll try it and maybe they'll end up loving it, and maybe you can create cult classics in a sideways kind of fashion with Game Pass. There's always like so much emphasis on like, well, what's the bad thing about Game Pass? And we always hear like, people saying like, oh, Xbox players don't buy games, even though there's no evidence really of that. And there's also like this whole sort of idea of Game Pass cannibalizes things because everyone's just waiting for the Game Pass version, and the game can't survive if it's not in Game Pass. But at the same time, it's like games like nobody says a game like Fortnite is cannibalizing the industry, which is actually the reality of it. Newzoo and Sakana have put out stats and figures there where it's like the real reason the game time hours are all messed up is because games like Fortnite and Call of Duty are vacuuming up all the attention. So yeah, I think Alone in the Dark is probably just a victim of its quality potentially, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, or even like high quality games like Alan Wake 2 have struggled to find sales, and part of that is because of Epic's you know, occlusion for preclusion from Steam, which I think is just such a silly thing to do. But I don't know.
You know, there is
Industries.
some sort of breaking news that I see coming across Twitter right now.
Oh.
Rebecca Valentine of IGN is reporting that Take-Two is either looking to sell off or shut down the entirety of its indie label Private Division.
Oh. How do you feel about that?
I mean,
I
I
did
don't.
see that Private Division had cancelled some projects
Yeah,
recently.
they canceled some projects. Uh, some studios were getting shut down. Uh, Stuff like that. I mean, I don't know who would want to buy Private Division. I guess I'm not really too surprised about it. Um, He said, meanwhile, Take-Two wants to offload Private Division one way or another. In February, IGN understands employees were told layoffs were imminent, but not given specifics on how many, why, or what is happening. Then at the end of the April, employees of the label were told by management that Take-Two would no longer support Private Division, at which time almost all the staff were laid off. So,
Yeah, Private Division, of course, probably most famously published The Outer Worlds, but then Microsoft
yes.
acquired all the rights to The Outer Worlds. Uh,
Says Take-Two is
kind of
also in
screwed that up.
discussions to sell off Private Division and has found interest from a private equity firm. Though a deal has not yet been agreed upon, sources were aware that the conversations are being facilitated in part by individuals with connections to Moon Studios leadership. But two of my sources expressed apprehension about such a deal and its connections, citing a 2022 VentureBeat report alleging oppressive work conditions at Moon Studios. One source I spoke with confirmed that everything in the report was true and worse, and another called the studio's founders cruel and a nightmare to work with. Yeah, so
Oh my god.
Rebecca Valentine has a pretty interesting article up about Take-Two. It's titled "Take-Two is quietly killing Private Division." So, I guess more layoffs in the industry, and essentially maybe Take-Two getting rid of their indie label, but maybe looking to sell. I don't know. Just not really a lot of good news in the industry right now, huh?
Nope. I'm surprised about that Moon Studios tidbit though. Thought Moon Studios had tried to clean up their act or whatever.
I don't know. It would be interesting if like they shut down Private Division. Then what does that do for No Rest for the Wicked? That means they don't have a publisher because they're defunct. Would somebody else have to pick it up? I don't know. There's some interesting questions there, but yeah, I did see
Maybe
that.
they end up back with Microsoft.
Doubtful, but you never know.
Really think so? I don't know if it's doubtful. You know. I think Moon Studio. I mean, I've heard that Moon Studios and Xbox have a pretty good relationship, but at least like high up in the studio. But there are those rumors about Moon Studios, so-called culture and stuff. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting.
yeah it's always
Maybe
something.
I could ask around about that.
Fa-
Something.
Fact Sakes with the two says, Jez, tell us about the Altairs. I don't think this is really a good spot for Jez to talk to us about that game. Probably wait for him to be home on a better mic where everything sounds good and
Yeah.
the sound's not really dropping
I will.
out.
Is it dropping out still?
No, it's not dropping out, but like sometimes you're higher than other times, and
One thing I've noticed is that Windows keeps changing the volume of it,
yeah.
and I don't know why. I'm trying to figure. Yeah, it's gone down to 49 now. What the fuck?
Yeah, I have you boosted on my end up to like 150%.
Yeah. I have no idea why that's happening. So Windows is just I just.
Are you
literally watched it change
using are you using Discord through a web browser or through the app?
I'm using it through a web browser because
Yeah,
it doesn't
that's
work
why.
on this.
Because I believe the web browser on Discord it will change your audio. It'll lower it or wherever it finds is like the best. Where the app never changes it for me. That's why I use the app when we podcast. But yeah, so
The app doesn't run very well on this
yeah.
laptop.
I mean, it's not a
sadly.
big deal. We'll talk about the alters in a couple weeks when Jez is back. Right now, you can read his article. Uh,
Yeah, I
you
do
know,
have a preview up. It's super good. You played this War of Mine. It's like this War of Mine meets The Long Dark meets Fallout Shelter. The best way I can put it. Yeah, definitely check out my preview. But yeah,
yeah.
I'll try and figure out what's going on with this mic shit. Go on.
Benjamin with the 5. Do you think we'll see Replace get a release date at the showcase? I mean, it's a good candidate to get one for sure. Absolutely, whether it's at the Keeleys or whether it's at Xbox's show, it is a damn good candidate to be there again. Derek's with the 10. It's a business. Everything is always on the table. It has to be just to make sane business decisions. Doesn't mean they're committing to it just because they've talked about it. It's very true. Brett Bringham with the 2. DRM. PS hardly issues refunds. Okay. Jay Foley with the 5. Do you guys think Xbox should do what Sony is talking about with putting the first game on PC day one, but make them buy a console to play the sequel? That ship has already sailed for Xbox. It sailed, I don't know, 8 years ago. There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. Like, I get there are some people that look at PlayStation's strategy because they had their whole business meeting and stuff, and they made I don't want to say commitment, but when they were talking about their strategy with their games, Herman Holst was basically saying that if it's a live service game, it's going to be on PlayStation 5 and PC day and date, which is a smart thing to do. Look at the success of Helldivers, right? It's outsold Spider-Man 2 in way less of a time frame, probably on way less of a budget. The return on investment for Helldivers 2 is going to be way greater than it is on Spider-Man 2. And a large part of that...
The margins are going to be...
Yeah. A large part of that is because of PC, let's be honest. It would not be selling 12 million copies if it was only on PlayStation. You know, more than 50% of that. I mean, there are reports that it's like 65-35 in favor of PC, whatever it is. But, I mean, a lot of those sales come from Steam, right? And then there was the whole debacle with the linking your accounts and all that stuff that happened from it. I don't know if you saw, though, Jez, I guess God of War requires a PlayStation login on Steam. So they're going, it's like, all right, well, we're not going to screw up Helldivers 2, but damn it, we want our sign-ins, right? So we're gonna have that right away from the beginning.
Well, to be fair, they haven't even really committed to not doing it on Helldivers. I mean, the fact that Helldivers is still not returned to sale in those countries suggests to me that they are going to eventually try and bring back the...
Well, yeah, and I think they did the same for Ghost of Tsushima as well, right, on PC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's...
But Herman Hulst did say that for their tentpole single-player narrative-driven games, that they were going to try to be more strategic with them and only release them essentially on PlayStation 5 at the start, and then eventually bring them down the road to PC, trying to entice PC gamers to essentially, if you enjoyed the game on PC and you want to play the sequel, then buy our console.
I honestly, do you want to know what I really think about this?
What?
I don't think... Hang on, I need to turn my mic up again. It's so annoying. I don't know why this keeps happening. I don't think even he believes what he was saying there.
You don't think so?
No. I think that what he was saying there was 100% for optics and not what they're actually doing. Because they have to know. They have the same data that everyone else has. There is no chance in hell they believe that people are going to switch platform. Especially in a universe where people won't even buy at the Epic Games Store, you know? Like people won't even download the Epic Games Store for free
Yeah. No, no.
when they're for first thing.
PC gamers are like it's Steam or bust for us, right?
Yeah.
Essentially,
There's,
especially
there's
hardcore PC
literally no
gamers.
there there's literally no universe where it's like, okay, they will buy will buy they will download the Epic Store. They won't download the Epic Store, but they'll buy a $500 console. There's no universe where that happens. I'm sorry, there just isn't. And I think they know that. That was pure optics. And it worked. You see a lot of fanboys lapping it up. So a lot of YouTubers lapping it up. I think it's bullshit. I don't think they actually believe that.
Okay. I mean, who knows what. I mean, at least for now, they're saying that's the plan moving forward. Will that always be the plan? Who knows? Could they change their minds? Potentially. But a lot of people.
I think that they might stick with it, but I think they'll stick with it for other reasons. But I don't think they believe that people are going to switch for that.
Well, I'm just saying that's what they say.
It's
like, oh, it's basically, oh, hey, it's marketing for the sequel. Like, hey, Ghost of Tsushima is on PC right now. So you'd imagine at some point, Ghost of Tsushima 2 or whatever they're going to call it is going to come out on PlayStation 5 and maybe won't come to PC for a year or two, but you already know it's going to come to PC. So unless you really need to play it day one, it's like, am I really going to buy a $500 or $600 console to play some of those games when I can just wait? And for a lot of PC gamers, it's gonna be no. Some will, but I think the majority won't. I don't know if that strategy, is going to change down the road, but I know I've seen some talk about Xbox should adopt this strategy. And it's like they should do the same. And it's like, dude, that ship sailed 8 years ago. Xbox has been putting their games day one on PC since 2016. They're not going to not put their games on day one on PC. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, hey, to help the console business, they should do what Sony's doing, but it's too late for that. You can't go 8 years, almost a decade of putting your games day one on PC, where PC is bringing in a lot of money for you, and then suddenly be like, haha, no, we're not doing that no more. Guess what? You guys have to wait a year or two. That's not happening.
Spin.
What?
Go spin.
Spin. Okay. We Robo 2024 with the 5. Maybe a new tier would be including all DLC, season passes, early access for all Xbox games similar to Ubisoft Plus. That would be a very interesting tier that you could put above Ultimate. What would you call it? Ultimate Plus? Right? Because when you think about like Game Pass tiers and what they could do, we've always talked about a cheaper tier, right, Jez? Like a $5 tier that's streaming only, that maybe is ad supported, which is something Tim Stewart's talked about. So I think at some point that will happen. I don't think they're there yet with streaming and all that stuff, but I do think an ad tier will happen at some point. And I've always felt that if Microsoft wanted to change some of the benefits of the tiers, you could essentially move day and date games from the lower tiers and make them Ultimate exclusive, where if you wanted to play Avowed or Indiana Jones day one, then you had to be subscribed to Ultimate. I don't, I know a lot of people would hate that, but it's definitely something Microsoft could do, where it's like, oh no, well if you just want, the library and no day one games, well then the console version here's for you. People would bitch because, you're essentially removing a feature people have been paying for forever, but it's something they could do. But yeah, a tier where you include all DLC, season passes, and early access for games, and have that as $25 a month instead of $18 like it currently is, that could be a way to funnel people even to in a higher tier. But maybe Microsoft just doesn't want a lot of tiers because it can be a little confusing. It's like, oh, you have Ultimate, you got PC, you got console, you got core. If you want them all, it's Ultimate. And then it's like, oh, but do you want them all plus everything? There's Ultimate Plus. Oh, but if you're just streaming and you want ads, here's a cheaper one. Maybe at that point you have way too many tiers and it all falls apart. Or maybe we're not giving consumers enough credit, because how many tiers are there on Netflix? There's like 4.
There's a bunch.
There's a bunch on Netflix. So who knows? Who knows how they try to change things around in the future with that. DB says Game Pass has stopped growing. COD is not fixing that. I mean, maybe. I guess we'll see the numbers at the end of the year. Maybe Microsoft wants to see them too. But I think the reason Game Pass has stopped growing is because Microsoft had a stretch there where they weren't releasing anything into it that was what people really wanted. And, if you release a lot of great games in the Game Pass, I think Game Pass would start to grow. Granted, also, console Game Pass needs to grow by, you need to sell hardware to do that, and that's a problem because Xbox isn't really selling hardware right now. So yeah, it's a quandary. It's a problem. How do you fix that? I don't know. Renell says, "Are you covering the Halo Championship in London, Jez?"
I am. Can you hear me? Okay, by the way.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right, I've switched to Discord's app right now. It's laggy as hell on this laptop, but maybe the audio will be more consistent here. I don't know. It's driving me up the wall watching the volume bounce up and down.
But Jez is not covering the Halo Championship.
No, I'm not. If people were curious about why everyone was in London, it was for a Fallout event.
Yes.
So there was a big Fallout event in London. Windows Central was there. Box 360 went there for us. Oh boy. Oh boy.
What?
I'm really looking forward to the showcase now. Let me tell you.
Did you just get a message or something?
No. About the Fallout thing, the Fallout stuff.
Well, what is that gonna do with the showcase?
Well, I think some of this stuff will be in the showcase.
I mean,
probably.
of course, stuff from Fallout 76 is going to be at the showcase. It's been at the showcase since they acquired Bethesda.
Yeah, but it's different now. It's different now.
No, it's not different.
It is different because everyone loves Fallout now, and also the content they're showing is going to be spectacular, man. I'm really hyped. I'm so hyped for Fallout 76, man. I'm so hyped for that game. I've put so many hours into it. So many hours.
And Fallout 76 just hit 20 million players. I did see that announcement. Todd Howard even was he did an interview with Variety. Yeah,
dude, Fallout's a thing now. I saw
it is a thing.
Ella Purnell and the chap who plays Maximus, they did a modeling spread.
Ooh,
dude. For Fallout, like it's like Fallout is chic, man. Apocalypse chic.
My sisters love it, bro. They love it. Yeah, the normies, they love Fallout. I think Todd Howard even said in that interview that they are exploring new ways or new games. They're always so yeah. I just wonder who they're exploring that with, because we know they're tied up with Starfield stuff and then eventually Elder Scrolls stuff. But yes, Fallout is blown up into the even bigger times. But we have the Magic Chodo, or Chudu. Rand might disagree with this, but Astrobot being the most well-received reveal of the show might prove Xbox's potential with a new Banjo game. I knew people would say this. I knew this would be like a new talking point of being like, look how well-received Astrobot is. Imagine Banjo. It's like... Yes, imagine Banjo indeed. Look, I want all my Banjo bros to get your game. I do. And maybe you will at some point. Maybe a few years from now. Maybe they even reveal it this year. Maybe Xbox is feeling bad about all the rumors about third party, or not even rumors really, but all the talk of third party, the shutting down of Tango and Arcane Austin. They're like, let's give the fans a bone. Let's give them what they've been asking for. Let's show them a cinematic reveal to say that, hey, we hear you. Here's Banjo. Right? Sure, that's something that could happen. And family-friendly games and that sort of type of stuff is something that a lot of Xbox fans have asked Microsoft to do, and they've shied away from it. They even got it.
It's
They even got rid of the studio that kind of makes that kind of content with Toys for Bob, even though they've officially said, Jez, Toys for Bob, for that matter, that they confirmed. I think you had mentioned, or you wrote an article about this.
I didn't. One of my colleagues did though.
No. This was weeks ago when you said that they had agreed to partner with Xbox for their new game.
Oh yeah.
But Toys for Bob came out on Twitter 5 hours ago and said, "We're excited to announce that we'll be partnering with Xbox to publish our next game. We're still very early in development, so you might not hear from us for a bit. But know that we're working hard on an experience we're so inspired about. Can't wait to share more," with the purple heart emoji. And the image is Toys for Bob Loves Xbox, and it's kind of purpley in nature. Do you think in Spyro, Jez, perhaps?
It has to be Spyro, man. They've been teasing Spyro in all sorts of ways for like the longest time. It has to be Spyro, right? I mean, it's kind of funny on top of the discussions about Astrobot and like Xbox. Where's Xbox's investment in the youngsters? The much younger generations. And people in chat, like I see people saying like no one wants Banjo won't sell, for example. And maybe they're right, but I think at some point you have to consider like we need to get youngsters interested and loyal in our platform, and games like Astrobot could potentially do that. Make people nostalgic for it. Nostalgia kind of like snowballs. I saw this is like only vaguely relevant, but like I was on YouTube Shorts the other day, and I was scrolling through, and the algorithm's giving me wrestling shorts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Edge, there was an interview with Edge, and he was talking about how he pitched to WWE to bring the Brood back for WrestleMania. You remember the Brood?
Yes,
Gangrel
I remember the
and
Brood.
Christian. And Vince came back to him and said, "No one remembers Gangrel. No one cares about Gangrel, And Edge was just like, and he was like, "I pushed for this, but everyone was saying like no one cared about Gangrel." And it's just like, but then he was like, "But I kind of feel like nostalgia snowballs, and you kind of have to, sometimes you have to reward fans for remembering, like your hardcore fans. And it kind of like, it brings everyone along with you when it's like, this, like the younger generation see that you're nostalgic for something, in Gangrel or Spyro or Banjo, and then it sort of snowballs. And I think Nintendo really understands that. That's why Nintendo has this sort of this generational effect. It's because they weaponize nostalgia, and they do it incredibly effectively well. Whereas, like, I think Sony and Microsoft have put a huge emphasis on, they've put a huge emphasis on the hardcore, the people with the credit cards and stuff like that, and they've neglected the younger generations. They've neglected the next generation, And I think that's why, like, games like Roblox and Fortnite have been able to clean up so much, because there is this gap, And yeah, I know Microsoft owns Minecraft, but Minecraft gets like one update a year, and it's like one texture or something. Dude, what do the people at Mojang do all day? Because they ain't working. Mm-hmm. They ain't working.
You tell them. What do the people at Mojang do?
I'm sorry, right? But when like your game is literally skinned in Microsoft Paint, you're telling me you can't put more content out? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think Notch, when Notch sold Mojang, he negotiated some kind of contract where it was like, okay, you can buy Minecraft, but I only want my staff to work 1 hour a week.
That's funny. Yeah, what did Mojang do? They got one of the biggest games in the world, probably one of the most profitable games in the world too, but what are they really doing?
Mob vote, man. The mob vote is like, okay, here's three mobs you can have.
Yeah.
Dude, You can add all 3 of those fucking
They
mobs.
sure could, but they don't.
Modders could make those in 30 minutes, dude.
I've always heard about the reason for that. Why they do the vote is because they want people to feel like they're affecting Minecraft and they feel good about voting for, like, oh, their mob won. But it's like, yeah, but then anybody who voted for the other 2 mobs that didn't win would feel crappy. And you're a big enough studio with enough money where it's like, why couldn't you just do all of them?
Yeah, well, it should be a 9 mob vote. Like you get 3 mobs instead of 1, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, Zedox is in the chat, blasting me. But they did just put out the tricky trials update, I think, for Minecraft. So there is a bit of,
I mean,
you know,
ZX. I
ripping
mean,
going
I
on.
have heard that ZX works like maybe like 1 hour a week at Microsoft on Minecraft stuff, in line with the Mojang stuff. So it's no surprise, right?
Man. I laughed so loudly then that the noise cancellation blocked the mic's audio. Oh man. But yeah, I mean Minecraft's an important tool for onboarding youngsters, but it's also like Minecraft's everywhere and people don't associate it with the Xbox brand, you know. And I think Sony started to realize, okay, we need something that we can reach out to youngsters and get them loyal into PlayStation at a younger age. Xbox doesn't have anything like that.
I mean, okay, but are we really sure that Astrobot really even appeals to a younger audience? I mean, to me, I think it appeals to people who grew up with Mario and have a very strong nostalgia base of love of the PlayStation brand, because you see all the Easter eggs in there with all the different, you know, PlayStation characters.
Yeah, exactly. And parents will play that game with their kids, which celebrates all of PlayStation's IP, and then the kids will grow up being like, "Oh, that's what that was referring to," and then they'll, like I say, nostalgia snowballs, man, and you've got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, dude.
I mean, I would love for Xbox to have their own Astrobot, because Astrobot is amazing. We got Sherman Jacobs with the 2. Any acquisition talk? Maybe Iron Galaxy. I mean, I haven't heard anything. And acquisition.
Microsoft's like completely shied away from gaming acquisitions.
They probably have their hands full with Activision at the trying to integrate them and everything.
Yeah. But it's kind of annoying because I think there are studios that they should acquire, like Double 11 support studio.
True.
They're working on Fallout 76. I absolutely think Double 11 should be an acquisition target. You know, Certain Affinity as well, Relic for Age of Empires and StarCraft, and then Iron Galaxy for Killer Instinct. Yeah, there are a lot of like these sort of supporty kind of studios that I really do think they should acquire and go after. You know, you could even make the argument for like a Sobo, but isn't a Sobo owned by someone else now? I don't know. But yeah, Xbox is JB1521 in chat says Xbox is all partnerships now, and it's true, right? It's kind of the Tencent model. Tencent does these investment deals where they invest in companies and sort of have, you know, final word on what they're doing and stuff. Is my audio okay now with using the app, by the way? Or is it still jumping around?
I mean, it's as good as it's going to get. I mean, it still kind of moves around, but whatever. Yeah, just I wouldn't worry about it, you know.
I'm worrying about it.
You know, speaking of Xbox doing deals, there was a rumor that was going around this week that Xbox is publishing and has cut a deal with the ex-Rocksteady devs, the co-founders of Rocksteady, that left their studio in 2022, built a new studio called HundredStar, who are making like an action-adventure game. And the rumor is that Xbox is actually publishing their first game. And I saw this, Jez, and it brought a smile to my face. It sure did. Because
brought a smile to your face, huh?
Yeah, Rocksteady, great developer. Love the Batman Arkham games. Suicide Squad, not so much. Not to say that there wasn't enjoyable aspects of Suicide Squad, but it was definitely on the more disappointing end for me. But both the Rocksteady co-founders left in 2022. They starting to build up their own studio. I'm assuming they're probably even hiring a lot of their ex-colleagues at Rocksteady. And now Xbox is signed a deal with them. Rumor, of course. Take a grain of salt or whatever you want to say. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, all right, yeah, let's go. That's pretty big for me. Because Xbox, we've seen, I don't want to say Xbox and their publishing deals, they do their little like smaller deals, smaller runs, right? You got your Towerborns or your Oris, or I'm trying to even think what other your As Dusk Falls, I guess, would be a global publishing game. And the bigger ones that have been rumored, like IO Interactive, Project Dragon, Project Fantasy, we still don't really know for sure if Xbox is publishing that game, but IO Interactive's a pretty big dev. And then you hear this news and it's like, hey, like the Rocksteady co-founders, like those are pretty high caliber individuals who've proved over time that they could take a game and take a studio who, before Batman Arkham Asylum, nobody knew who Rocksteady was. And now everybody knows who they are. And they created some of the best games of the 360 generation, showing other people basically the foundation of not only what a great licensed game could be, but also it's like basically set the groundwork of what most comic book combat is all based on. Like the Spider-Man combat is all based around, what they came up with that game. So when I saw this, and I was like, yes, this is something I didn't even know I wanted. Like I knew I wanted whatever the next game would be, but the fact that Xbox is publishing it, I did see people on Twitter saying like, well, why would they even do this when they're just going to put it on PlayStation because of their multi-platform strategy, what have you, which we don't even know the whole length and breadth of whatever that strategy is, and stuff like that. I mean, they're good questions to ask, and it's like, well, when will we even see this game? And it's probably 4 or 5 years away at this point, because but I mean, when I saw this, I was like, man, that's exciting. That's like something when you see, like when the rumors like, oh, Xbox is working with who's the studio that's making Towerborn? It was the Stoic, right?
Yeah,
I remember when that was rumored, I was like, okay, all right, interesting. But it's like I didn't really play their last game, so whatever. Or when
I'll be honest though, when you attach a big name to a project, it's like it's all well and good, right? But a studio is more than just the heads of the studio, right?
Of course.
So like, and while it's promising and they've got like a good tenure, it's like I'm very much, I don't know if I'm just cynical at this point, where I've kind of gotten to the point where it's just like I need to see some gameplay before I can get excited now. Like you can put Dan Houser's name to a game and whatever, and I'm still kind of like skeptical. I still need to see gameplay. I still need to see what this looks like. I still need to see like what trend is this chasing? What demographic is this chasing? Is this actually going to be for me, or they're going after the Fortnite generation? That kind of thing. So I don't know if I'm just cynical. I mean, I love games and I appreciate games even if they're not for me. But for me personally, when it comes to my hype, I need to be in a wait and see situation. So
okay, no, I get that, but I'm just saying, like on the face of it, when you talk about, a developer who's made a whole bunch of games before that I've enjoyed, like, okay, yeah, like I'm looking forward to whatever this would be, whatever it is down the road. So I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I think the rumor came to us from Exputer. So hey, it got me kind of. I saw that and I was like, oh man, that's cool. Like I can't wait to see whatever they're working on. So there's that. We have We have D Donataku. Says Astrobot is thriving and only has had appealing and well-made games in its franchise, unlike Banjo, which hasn't had a good game in 20 years. Oh, yeah, Banjo hasn't had a game in a long time, so
That's true.
that is very true. But it's kind of the difference between Astrobot and Banjo. It's like that's what they need. It's like, well, yeah, you probably need a Banjo game to be really. This would be their third Astrobot game, if I'm not mistaken. They did the VR game. Then they did the packing game with the PS5, and now this is their third one. So they've gotten a lot of practice. Big Afroman with the 5. Happy Friday, guys. A lot of out-of-pocket stuff from Colin. You guys have anything on my Xbox 2 anytime soon? Also, great listen from you guys on Defining Duke Rand. Yeah, it was cool to be on there with Maddie and Cog again, talking about, the showcase and what we expect and stuff. And unfortunately, Jez couldn't join us for that episode because he was in transit to LA. But no, I haven't heard anything from. I don't really listen to Sacred Symbols. I'm not really that interested in PlayStation stuff, so I don't really listen to PlayStation podcasts mostly. Although most PlayStation podcasts, let's be honest, are just Xbox podcasts anyways, I guess.
Oh man, it's yeah, they're just Xbox podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, we are going to talk about the PlayStation State of Play in a moment.
True, but we don't talk about PlayStation every single week. Only when
that is
something
true.
newsworthy, and usually how it applies to Xbox. But yeah, a lot of those PlayStation shows really should bend the knee to Xbox because they wouldn't have content to talk about for their own shows. Because PlayStation doesn't really talk. They're very much like Nintendo. They don't really talk unless they're doing state of plays or whatever, and that's it. And you can talk about their financials because they put a whole bunch of stuff out there, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
He also says, Jez, great timing on visiting the U.S. Given the current trial verdict. Also, how's L.A.? Have you eaten crazy food yet? How's the weather?
The weather is overcast. It's actually really pleasant. It's like, it's not too warm. It's not cold. And the first year I was in LA, I got literally sunburnt within 5 minutes of stepping out of the Uber. But it's not been so oppressive the last couple of years I've been here. Food, I haven't really eaten much. It's bits and pieces. I had McDonald's yesterday. I've just been hiding in my hotel room and working at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, LA is awesome. It's a unique city, man. It's a unique city. All the party starts next week when we get closer to Summer Game Fest, Xbox Showcase. A lot of cool stuff.
Brett, with the 5, how many PC VR players will buy PSVR 2 if a PSN account is needed? While not confirmed, we all know how Sony is. I mean, I know they're VR. I mean, as much as people want VR to be a thing, I don't think VR will be a thing anytime soon. So,
the issue with VR is like people buy them, but then they don't use them, and that the issue of usage is the problem because modern gaming really does revolve around the post-sale monetization, your PSM, right? And like you're not getting any post-sale monetization if nobody's using the headsets because they're uncomfortable and they're inconvenient and they're bulky and they make people feel sick. When you can just like boot up your TV, which is so much more of a comfortable experience. Like VR is a commitment. You have to be like committed to VR. It's like I'm gonna set aside this time to waggle around and use my VR headset. It's not a casual thing. It's really not. You have to be committed to it. It's a hardcore device. And I think until they figure out how to casualize VR, it's never going to be a thing. It's never going to be a thing, man.
What else we got here? We have Batnap says Xbox should bring back Scalebound as a PlayStation exclusive. Wouldn't that be funny? There's a Scalebound mentioned. Jesse with the 2. Astrobot appeals more to 30-year-old men than children. I sort of agree with that, honestly. I
Yeah,
actually think that
yeah.
is a correct take, that it does appeal to more older generation than it does to the younger generation. Nate Dogg with the
Mm.
4.99. Crazy to think I wrote the super that broke the internet last month when Jez discussed his Fallout news. Jez, have you heard anything new about Fallout or Obsidian?
Fallout. I know a lot about Fallout right now, but I'm under embargo,
Oh,
so
okay.
you'll have to wait for that. Um, Obsidian. I don't really know. I mean, we're gonna talk about our showcase predictions here in a minute, but like, I've heard good things about Avowed, man. The latest build of Avowed. I've heard really good things that like the visuals have been improved a lot over last year. Um, I don't know to what extent, you know. So I'm kind of optimistic and hopeful that Avowed shows up a little bit better than last year because I remember some people were a bit disappointed the way it looked last year.
Yeah.
So I
People
think
definitely were.
this
Yeah.
yeah I think this could be a similar leap to when Halo Infinite first showed up and we got the Craig meme. So like that second showing where it was like, look at all the lighting and texture work we've done, to improve this. So yeah.
Sifu Poetic says, I wish they would add a Halo game themed around Grunt's life. Would be a great kids game. They were making this like a
I
Halo
like that
Mega
idea.
Bloks. Yeah, like you think that'd be a cool idea?
Yeah, like you
Eh.
play like a grunt's life.
And then like it
Kind of
ends,
like that.
and then it ends by you getting killed by Master Chief.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Or
else would
maybe he
you end
makes
it?
friends with Master Chief.
Yeah.
Or
Us.
maybe he like the maybe it's a Yip Yap the Destroyer origin story.
That'd be funny.
And yeah, I like that.
Supernova with the 2. Is 343 working on a Halo remake? Ooh. I don't know what 343 is working on, but we'll talk about that in our predictions. Donataku, give me hope. Shaolin Wutang announcement. Jez, do you think we will see that often rumored Wu-Tang game
Oft rumored.
that I believe like Tom Henderson and others have leaked? Or is it from, I think, Lime Brass Games, I believe it is?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that since the initial leak. I haven't heard that it's cancelled or anything like that. So hopefully we'll see.
I think Insider
There's a
Gaming
there's a ton that we could see at the show.
yeah, I think Insider Gaming recently had a whole bunch of stuff about it a couple months ago. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine with that. Magic Chodo 421. Chances of Contraband showing up at the showcase. We're going to talk about our predictions just here in a minute. Pushing Polygons with the 5. If there is a Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster, what are the chances that they'd wait until the 2026 to release it for Oblivion's 20th anniversary? I mean, yeah, but I believe they had it scheduled for 2022 in the leak from Bethesda's games from 2020, and it seemed like all those games in there got pushed back 2 years, which would be this year. So maybe it's this year. I do feel like Oblivion, like when people talk about the Oblivion and Fallout remasters, I feel like the Oblivion one is closer than the Fallout one. Because we even sort of know who's doing the Oblivion remaster. I think it was Virtuous.
Virtuous.
Yeah. So,
did you ever play Oblivion, Rand?
I did. I played Oblivion. Of the Elder Scrolls games, I played Oblivion and Skyrim.
Yeah, I'm the same. Oblivion was my first one, and I remember being so confused when I was a kid. I was like, what the hell do you do? What do you do? Where am I going? Well, this is so strange. I can do this. I can do everything. And then gradually I got into it, and I was just blown away by the scale of the Bethesda tradition. But would you go back and play a remaster, or are you kind of been there and done that about it?
I mean, it has been a pretty long time since I played Oblivion, and I did enjoy Oblivion quite a bit. The problem with, I don't know. When you're talking about a game from 2006. To me, if you're talking about doing something with the game that old, it needs to be a full-on remake. Not a remaster. To me, it's
Not a
like
remaster.
you're just gonna res it up. I just yeah, I don't know. So I'd have to
Yeah, I
see.
feel that. I mean, yeah, yeah, I get that.
Derek's with the 2 says the Halo Battle Royale just dropped. You lying? You capping?
Yes. No, he's telling the truth, but it's
It's a
actually
Forge thing.
it's a crazy Forge mode mod.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm actually intrigued to see how this does, because this is kind of the dream of Halo Forge, right? That like, you know, if 343 didn't provide it, then the community can through Forge. I think Forge is a grossly underrated tool. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see how this does. There's a Helldivers mode as well, apparently.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, and you know another thing I've heard, Rand.
Hmm.
I've heard that they have actually ported Forge to the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about Halo moving to Unreal, ditching Slip Space. I know that was conversations like last year, right? Where people were wondering what was going on with that, but
I was never able to fully hard confirm the Unreal Engine switch, but I believe it now. Like I can't evidence it to the point where I put in an article, but I firmly believe that they're switching onto Unreal. I mean, you got to look at what everything else that's happened at Microsoft's internal studios over the last year. Every studio is on Unreal now. They've got like an internal team dedicated specifically to Unreal. They've got bespoke tools, internal Microsoft only tools for Unreal Engine. And I think like if you know, you can bring down costs if you can just, you know, you don't have to train a new hire to use your sort of engine. And we got all these there were all these rumors about the engine being blamed for some of Halo Infinite's problems. There wasn't good documentation, or there wasn't good tool sets and all this stuff. Don't know how true any of that is, but I do know that there's clearly a reason why every studio at Microsoft seems to be on Unreal now. On Unreal, you can do crazy things with Unreal. Absolutely crazy things with that engine.
yeah,
So I believe it.
you believe it. Okay. I wonder what we'll see from that. I wonder if we'll see anything Halo related at the show. Wagerman, what's up, buddy? He says, hi, guys. Hope to see you next week, Jez. Killer Instinct multi-platform from Iron Galaxy would be also awesome if announced, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, even before this whole multi-platform drama, do you remember me getting in trouble in years past for saying Killer Instinct should be full multiplat? I think a fighting game, the fighting game community is passionate, but it is niche, you know. Like the sales that Capcom put out for Street Fighter, like that they called a success. You know, they're the kind of sales that Square Enix would be coming up and saying that they're a disappointment, right? So like I think like if you are going to make a fighting game, you kind of have to be where the fighting game community is. And thanks to Sony's exclusivity deal with Street Fighter 4, they kind of cornered that market, right? It was Street Fighter 4 that was permanently exclusive to PlayStation. Right?
No, Street Fighter 5.
Was it 5?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, 5 then. Are we on Street Fighter 6 now?
Yes,
God.
6 just came out last year.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it does need to be fully multi-platform if they do Killer Instinct. I have no evidence that Killer Instinct 2 exists, and I think like in Maximilian stream.
Well, that's what
some people
Joaquin
in his chat was.
Joaquin Branch says. Jez is famous. Maximilian Dude apparently watches the show. I doubt he watches the show.
Yeah, well, some people in his chat were saying. I think they were saying that I said Killer Instinct 2's happening.
Have you said that though?
No, I did not say that. I did not say Killer Instinct 2 is happening. But I kind of feel like if you bought Iron Galaxy back into the fold, and they're not working on anything right now. I know Phil likes the IP, and Phil himself has said that they wanted to do something with the IP, right? They wanted to do it. Like, the stars have aligned that Iron Galaxy needs a project. They're familiar with Killer Instinct already, and Microsoft wants to make a Killer Instinct. I kind of feel like it's inevitable, personally, even without any evidence. It just seems like everything lines up, right? So, like, it would be a prediction for me to say that Killer Instinct 2 is inevitable. I hope I'm right, but I haven't got any evidence to suggest that it is coming.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll I'll dig into that. That's why I'm in LA, baby.
Yeah, you get a whole bunch of new stuff when you're in LA talking to people. Kill9 says, Jez, you going to have time for the World of Warcraft TWW beta?
Yeah, the War Within beta. I actually am already in the alpha, and I have dabbled in the alpha a little bit, but I'm probably going to skip beta and wait for the full game at this point. Because A, I'm probably not going to have much time, and B, I also don't want the spoilers. I kind of want to experience it when it's finished and polished. Because I did the first area, and you know it's so funny when you play an alpha of a game, and it's like you do a quest, and then you get this pop up which is like insert cutscene here with a big X through it. You know, kind of ruins the experience. So yeah, I'm going to wait till it's more polished, and then I'll just wait for the full launch at this point.
Right. Don with the $5.99. Will there be any advantages for the Game Pass subs for the multi-platform new game releases, like 3 days early access to the new Doom game? Don't know.
I do think they need to do more with the perks you get with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Yes. Like, whether it's skins, whether it's in-game currency. You know, there's so many items in Fallout 76 that are sort of like on the back burner that they could put through Game Pass as a perk, like rare stuff, and also like the Amazon Prime gaming stuff. Like some of the old WoW pets and mounts have gone through that system. Like, it's like, why give that to Amazon? Put it through your own service, man. And I know they've got contracts with Blizzard, but like when those expire, I want card packs through Xbox Game Pass for Hearthstone. I want tier skips for battle passes through Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I want skins and all this kind of stuff. There's no reason why they can't do a very easy win value add there. But we'll see if they actually do it. That's one of the things I'm going to talk about while I'm here in LA as well. If I do get the opportunity to speak to Phil and the other higher ups.
Right. Let's talk about well, I guess I'll just briefly mention Redfall got its last update ever. Which now you can pause the game in single player mode, and it has an offline mode now. So I guess like if the game ever gets taken down, you can still play it. And I think a new weapon or whatever. So the last update for Redfall, I know people were waiting with bated breath. I'm kidding, they weren't, but yeah, last update for that game. But let's talk about State of Play for a little bit, because I'm sure there's a couple games there that interested you, Jez. There's been a lot of talk about the State of Play. A lot of people on the internet not kind to it. Jeff Keighley's poll, I don't know if you saw it, Jez. Like 120,000 votes, 42% D. It's one of the lowest rated shows I've seen in a long time. It's like 75% of the votes were C and below, basically C and a D, with only like 5% being an A. So the internet did not like State of Play whatsoever. And one of the games that has kind of been also, if you look at like the like to dislike ratio, it is very heavily favoring the dislikes, is Concord.
Yeah, Concord.
Firewalk is really getting trashed across the internet.
Concord's from Firewalk? I thought that was from Bungie.
No. Bungie's doing Marathon and Destiny 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. That's my bad. But yeah, Concord, like, I was gonna say are people mad at Concord because they think Bungie should be investing more in Destiny? But it's not even Destiny.
No,
So it's not even Bungie. Sorry.
it's one of their live service games, and when they showed a CGI trailer, which okay, CGI trailer, you're whatever. It's like looks fine, but it's this weird difference. I don't know why they do this. When you show off a CGI trailer and then you immediately show the gameplay, because they don't look anything alike. And you could definitely tell the golf in quality between both of them. It almost makes it seem like they wanted to show this trailer sometime before this, and then this showing should have been the gameplay. Because, I don't know, like the idea of showing here's our CGI and then here's our gameplay, and there's such a distinct difference between the two of them, it just really is jarring. And I know other companies have done this, and it's like, don't put your CGI announcement trailer immediately followed up by the gameplay trailers, because they don't look the
We've hammered Microsoft for this, and like there's gonna be like,
well, Microsoft has never done this. They've never showed off. No, they've never shown a CGI trailer and then immediately showed the gameplay for a game.
Oh, you mean like straight after?
Yeah, straight after. I'm talking about the, like, you see the CGI and then you see the gameplay.
No, but the Concord CGI was last year.
No, the Concord CGI was this year.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
May 22nd, 2023.
No, Jez. All they showed in the trailer last year was the Space Burger. This year they had two trailers. They had a 2 to 3 minute.
Am I getting it mixed up with Marathon again?
Yes, you probably are. They
Okay,
showed
mind.
off a CGI trailer of Concord, like 3 minutes long, and then they showed off like a 5-minute trailer or whatever it was of the gameplay. And it's such a jarring jump to being like, here's CGI, and then, oh, here's the game, right? I don't really like that approach. But either way, Concord is apparently a 5v5 PvP game. They're going to have cinematics every week when you log in. My first thought was, who asked for this? And my second thought was, wow, this is kind of derivative. I don't know really who this is for. I didn't really care for it whatsoever. I was like, no. I don't know. That's just me.
Dude, I was right. There was a CGI trailer for Concord last year. Broski.
Bro, it didn't show anything, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It showed a desk.
It showed a desk and a hamburger. Did you watch the CGI trailer they showed at yesterday's show?
It looked like a good hamburger, bro.
Okay, but I'm saying, did you watch the gameplay trailer or did you watch the CGI trailer? Because they showed two of them.
I watched the gameplay trailer.
Okay, so you didn't. Yeah, they led with a 3-minute CGI trailer.
Okay. Well, fair enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised. I'm actually a little surprised about the backlash to this because, like, yeah, it is just a sort of it somehow sits between Valorant and Overwatch, which both are clones of each other and both are and is a clone of TF2, and then you've got Valve's own hero shooter waiting in the wings, Deadlock, I think it's called. Is it Deadlock?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like why does this exist?
And then they even had its own competition in the show with Marvel Rivals. The Marvel Overwatch clone.
Yeah, it's almost like Sony throwing their own game under the bus. I don't get it. Like maybe it plays really well, you know. And maybe like Bungie will be involved in the gunplay, tighten it up, because there's one thing about Bungie is that Bungie's style of first-person shooting is kind of unique, and Bungie's style of shooting feels really good, right? So maybe I'm tempted to give it the benefit of the doubt as a hero shooter fan, you know, as someone who doesn't like Battle Royale. Although I did play a DMZ shooter an upcoming DMZ shooter the other week, and I was the other day, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually kind of fun.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Concord is entering a very competitive space.
Yeah, very.
Especially when you've got Valorant. The kids all want to play Valorant. The millennials are all still playing Overwatch, and then you've got like Steam's own version of Valorant is on the horizon, and it looks pretty good. It's to be fair, from the leaked testing footage. But yeah, I don't know. Concord has its work cut out for it, clearly. And I think some of the backlash, I think, is because a lot of core PlayStation fans don't want to see Sony going hard on the service game route.
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Do you think, like, I don't know if chat feels the same way. Do you think, like, there's some backlash here where people think, like, Sony could have used this budget to fund something else, some more AAA single player bangers or whatever, instead of like what could actually pan out to be a poorly received hero shooter? It's not a surefire win. Not Deadlock. Concord isn't a surefire win, and Sony's become sort of known for surefire wins in recent years. But I think if Sony's going to grow, they're going to have to be willing to make some mistakes, I think, and try some new things. Tuco says Concord just looks generic. Factions cancelled for this from Solithida. So yeah, I don't know. I think coming out of Helldivers, which was like incredibly unique. It took like a lot of existing formats and build something completely unique. Concord's going to struggle to find its identity, I think. But hey, we'll see.
Very competitive market. I don't know. When I saw it was like 5v5, I'm like, all right, well, another one of these things. It's like, all right, well, hopefully you got something up your sleeves because there's so many of these other games out there. It's like, good luck with that. But yeah, not getting a lot of positive looks online. The dislikes are really high on that trailer. I mean, I don't know, just like even the characters, it kind of had the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, but it just really just felt derivative and generic. But we'll see how that plays out. They also had the announcement of God of War Ragnarok for PC, Jez, which I'm sure you'll be looking to check out in September. A new Dynasty Warriors game, Origins. I don't really care about Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty Warriors is fantastic, and it's coming to Xbox as well. That one. Infinity
Nikki. I don't know if you saw that trailer. Like an open world dress up adventure. It's very, very. I don't know. I guess that there's an audience for that somewhere. Like I have no idea.
Well, hey, you played Barbie's Horse Adventures, bro.
I did. So
you are the audience.
Where the Winds Meet is coming to PS5. That trailer at least looked somewhat cool.
And the developers are currently assessing doing an Xbox version as well.
Ballad of Antara is also a game that showed up there, a free-to-play action RPG releasing next year. I thought it looked interesting. I don't know if it's something I play, but at least the trailer was cool. You had a couple VR games. Behemoth, I kind of spaced out on these because I don't care about VR, and an Alien game called Rogue Incursion. It's like, man, what is with these Alien games? Why is there not a sequel to Alien Isolation? Who's asking for an Alien game on PSVR 2? Ugh.
Yeah.
You had the Marvel Rivals announcement for console with the exclusive Spider-Man suit, and then Xbox announced that game was also coming to Xbox as well. So Marvel Rivals closed beta is set for July, but we don't have a release date for it. But looks like Overwatch with Marvel characters. Until Dawn remake got a fall 2024 release. I think it's October 8th. Weird game to do a remake on. or like a remaster with new graphics and animations. So, I mean, I did enjoy Until Dawn when I played it, but it's like, really? You're going to do like a remaster of that? All right, whatever. Path of Exile 2, they had a trailer for that. Very Diablo-esque. I guess that's the whole point, though, right?
Yep. Path of
Uh,
Exile was always supposed. I'm, I'm having this back and forth with oh no, it's Alex on Twitter at the moment because he's out there, he's capping, acting like Path of Exile is this super hardcore game. It's like, bro, it's not that hard, man. It's not like Mythic World of Warcraft raiding. Come and play a man's game, dude. Come and play, do some Mythic World of Warcraft raiding. You think Path of Exile is hardcore? But oh god, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. But nah, it's all jokes.
Another game that's
because I'm a Diablo guy, right?
Yeah, another game that's not really getting a lot of good press. A lot of people are looking at it like, huh? Especially the graphics is Silent Hill 2. There's just
so
something off
skeptical
about
this.
that game. There's something off about the way the characters look and the combat.
There's something bloober about that game.
Are they bloobering it up? Are you saying?
Well, look, man. Like, I appreciate like there are aspects of Bloober's games that I appreciate. Like some of the environmental work that Bloober does is top notch. Like the medium, like the environments in the medium were great, but that's probably the only compliment I can sort of hand Bloober right now. You know, they have there's no evidence that Bloober can make a game that feels good from a combat perspective. Although they have hired in some, you know, some high quality combat designers with good pedigree, and also Bloober's writing is often just, it ranges from cringeworthy to shocking, you know, sometimes, but not in a good way, you know. And sometimes they're really great at atmospherics, and so it's like what was that cyberpunk game they did? I can't remember what it's called now. Do you know what I'm talking about? That cyberpunk game.
Yes, it had Ruder Hager in it. It was
Yeah,
called Observer.
Observer. Yeah, so Observer like had some great atmospherics, you know, but there's there's like some of the writing they put in is just like it comes across as juvenile sometimes, and I think Silent Hill has this sort of subtlety that is, I think is going to be completely misunderstood by Bloober. I kind of feel like, and also Konami as well. I think this just reeks of cash into me, and this is pure cynicism. And I'm desperate. I am desperate to give this the benefit of the doubt as someone who loves Silent Hill. Like I'm so nostalgic for Silent Hill 2. I had it as like it was a Christmas present one year for me as a kid. I think it was 11 or 12 when it came out, and I absolutely loved it. You know, it was one of my favorite games of that era, and I'm just so not. I just don't trust Konami with this IP, and I don't trust Bloober with this IP. So it's really hard for me to cut through that cynicism and give it the benefit of the doubt when Konami is just aggressively mismanaged everything that it's had since they fired Hideo Kojima. You know, we were so close to having a Hideo Kojima Silent Hill. We were so close to it. You know, and that PT thing showed that he understood he understood the assignment, but also what he was able to evolve it. You know, and but now we've gone like we went 2 steps forward, and now we've gone like 100 steps back. You know, so yeah, I'm so nervous about this. And you know, it reeks of cash in, and you know, like Sylar with the super chat just said, sorry man here. 100% agree on Silent Hill. Resident Evil 2 remake is literally the benchmark. It fails to me. It looks awful. And that's the thing. Silent Hill is launching against the backdrop of super high quality
Mm-hmm.
horror
Yeah,
remakes
Dead
recently.
Space, Resident Evils. Yeah.
Dead Space, Resident Evil, you know. So that's the bar. That is the bar, and
And
I don't think they're
and
gonna
it's
meet it,
like
man.
they're remaking a beloved, one of the best horror games ever made. You know,
It's a legend.
one of the
It's a
pinnacle of the
fucking legend.
genres. So any sort of flaw that you see, people are going to crucify. People already weren't happy with the Bloober was making it because of the type of, people didn't like the medium, people didn't like Layers of Fear or whatever. But I don't know. Ever since the reveal for this, there's just something off about the game in general. The characters, their faces. Like one of the first things I noticed was like, ooh, man, like after playing Hellblade, I was like, whoo, those those faces and those graphics look they're looking old. It's looking like a early Xbox One PS4 game almost. And then
I
like
should have got Capcom to do it, man.
yeah, the combat doesn't look. I don't know. We need to wait and see, I suppose. But I just have this feeling, this gut instinct, that when that game comes out, it's going to get trashed. Where you can look at Dead Space and see like how well it reviewed. You can look at the Resident Evils outside of maybe Resident Evil 3 and see how well the remakes have reviewed. I just have it in my mind, in my gut. I think people are going. I don't think Bloober's going to nail it. I think you're going to see people shit all over Silent Hill 2 remake when it releases. I don't know. There's just something off about that game. That's the only way I can describe it until I get my hands on it. And it's like, I love Silent Hill 2 so much. And I know it's coming PC and PlayStation October 8th, and I want to play it. But I look at it and I'm just like, if this wasn't Silent Hill 2, would you be interested in it? And I have to say no, I wouldn't be. It's like strictly because it's Silent Hill 2 is the only reason I'm like, all right, I want to play this. But everything else that they've shown of it, I'm kind of just like, oh man, none of this really seems good, for lack of a better word. I don't know how anybody else in chat feels about this new Silent Hill, the remake, but it does not fill me.
I really want to give it the benefit of the doubt. So I really badly do, but I don't trust Konami and I don't trust Bloober Team. So there's like a sandwich of cynicism there that's going to be hard to swallow. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe just because Bloober Team themselves have thrown Konami under the bus and said that their trailers are bad.
Yes.
Did you see that before?
I did see
that.
Like,
maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know.
Down at Taco with the 5 says the medium built for the Series X looks better than Silent Hill 2 remake built for the PS5. There's that. Danny Passion with the 2. Is it time for a Titanfall 3 to come out? I mean, I would love it. There's isn't there talk that they're making a new shooter over there at Respawn?
There is talk. We don't know what it is though.
Yeah. We need that Titanfall 3. We definitely need it. Well then I would imagine your game of the show here is Monster Hunter Wilds with the official gameplay trailer. Got a nice long look at it. I would imagine you were just in love with what you saw, right? And voice characters
fantastic.
for the first time in the series history, right?
No, it's voiced main protagonist.
Voice main protagonist, okay.
So I don't like that. I like the silent protagonist. I'm weird like that. And I know some people don't like it. I like silent protagonist because like it's kind of like then it's you, right? It's your character. But when it's not a silent protagonist, it's the voice actor's character. So it's more like, do you know what I mean? So I'm a bit weird like that. But that's besides the point. Monster Hunter Wilds looked absolutely fantastic. It looked like the ultimate Monster Hunter game. And obviously the devil will be in the details. Like Monster Hunter is such a long and storied franchise that it means something different to everyone depending on where you jumped into it. Like there's a lot of people who say the modern Monster Hunter games are too casual, which is hilarious because you know, even like Monster Hunter Worlds has been, has like it's difficult for people to get into. I kind of feel like, um, even now, but a lot of people say, a lot of hardcore Monster Hunter players say like it's too casual, um, but yeah, it looked fantastic. The visuals look really great. The focus mode where you can like target monster parts um, more specifically was really interesting. And there's also this for the first time in the series you'll be able to switch weapon type in the field
Mm.
by jumping on your mount. So like they've had mounts in Monster Hunter before, but like obviously with Rise they had the Palamutes and stuff like that. But now like they've got this it's almost like a little mobile base. You can get on your mount and then switch weapon type in the field, whereas before you sort of had to like literally stop what you were doing if you wanted to switch weapon type, because your weapon type's kind of like how your class plays, or well, how your character plays. But yeah, it looked fantastic, man. It's a dream. It was a dream come true. I'm so hyped for that game. Like the very first showing of Monster Hunter Wilds, like you can see the difference. The difference in graphics quality is huge between when they first showed Wilds and then to now.
And it's still not
And
even
I think
coming out
like
till next year, so still a lot
yeah,
more to
so
go.
still get even better. Yeah, I'm
What do you think?
I'm
Do you think it's a
day one.
early game
Um,
next year or fall type game next year?
Monster Hunter World. I want to say they did drop that earlier in the year,
Like a
if I remember
March time
correctly.
frame ish?
I can't remember exactly when they did. Maybe
Capcom
I'm wrong.
Capcom likes to do early in the year type releases.
Yeah. So maybe it is an earlier in the year type release. Let me just look up when Monster Hunter World launched. Because on the top of my head, it did launch earlier in the year. Yeah, it launched in January. I was
Mm.
right about
Well, we know.
January 2018 for Monster Hunter World.
I would imagine we could probably throw that out now. Like we don't. You would think if it was coming in January, they would have that announcement already, right? Or maybe they could still
Yeah.
announce it for January. Maybe it's a March game, April game.
Yeah, quarter 1 or quarter 2, I think. Probably not a full game. But yeah, I mean they've had a lot of success with Dragon's Dogma launching in that sort of window as well. They
Resident
announced
Evil games tend
Dragon's
to launch around March.
yeah. They announced Dragon's Dogma sales figures milestones again recently, and Dragon's Dogma continues to do really well, which is surprising because it has no end game or anything really,
You
except
know,
for New Game Plus.
one of the other things about Capcom is there are a lot of rumors flying before. Like I think a couple weeks ago, we talked about Resident Evil 9 apparently being ready to show and releasing this January, but apparently it's not going to be shown, I guess, and it's not going to be ready anytime soon, at least according
Hmm.
to Leaker. But then also there was talks that it was Resident Evil 1 that was getting remade. But apparently it's not Resident Evil 1. It's Resident Evil Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 that are getting remade. So,
I'm so happy about this. Actually,
yeah.
I think I love Code Veronica, and I know like a lot of people don't. I think this is a controversial opinion with some people, and maybe it is nostalgia to some degree. But Code Veronica is one of my favorite Resident Evil games, um, personally. And Code Veronica does go a little bit off the rails some ways, but I kind of like feel like Veronica set up the you know the groundwork so Resident Evil 4 could run in a way. I love Code Veronica, man. So like that having a proper modern remake makes me so happy. But also like Resident Evil Zero, I think is underrated. Did you play Zero on the GameCube
I did play it on the
back in the day?
GameCube. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think Resident Evil Zero is a little underrated. I mean, it was a bit strange the switching characters back and forth and stuff. But like this is why like with the remake, they can streamline some of these processes with like the modern technology. Maybe Resident Evil Zero was too ahead of its time or something, and maybe with modern technology it could be better. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off base on that. But I would much prefer a Resident Evil Veronica and Zero remake than a Resident Evil 5 or 6 remake.
Well, I mean, 6 6 really bad game. Like they might as well just make a new Resident Evil 6. But maybe
I
they
think what should they do with 6? Do
I
you
don't
think they should
know.
like completely throw it out and just remake every aspect of it from the ground up,
I don't
just with
know.
like the major lore beats? Um, or should they like?
Cuz Resident Evil 6 is so bad. I'm fine with the Resident Evil. Like maybe you just don't remake 6. You just remake Code Veronica 0, maybe even do 1, do Resident Evil 5 and then you stop. You don't even bother doing 6.
Yeah, I think they are gonna eventually run out of remakes. But do you think they should remake Resident Evil 1 again?
I mean, why not?
Because I personally think they should. I mean, if they're doing Zero, which was on the GameCube,
Yeah.
on the same
Why
engine,
not? You might as well. A lot of
yeah.
people love Resident Evil 1. So, if you're going to do 0 and Code Veronica, you might as well do Resident Evil 1. And then guess what? You do 5, you're still doing 9 and 10 or whatever. Then it's all back around and you could start over again and remake Resident Evil 2.
Well, that's what
Or
they're doing with
remake
World of
remake
Warcraft.
Resident Evil 7 and then remake Resident Evil 8. I don't know what they're going to do after that. Maybe it's time for some
Monster Hunter
Dino
remake.
Crisis.
Falcon's Tech says start doing Monster Hunter remakes. I mean, they could do Monster Hunter remakes. They could do Dino Crisis remakes. There's so much they could do revisiting their classic content. You could do Devil May Cry remakes.
You could.
God, Devil May Cry 1 again.
But one more game from the PlayStation show was the game that a lot of people are super thrilled with. The game that's kind of dominating the conversation. And that's Team Asobi unveiled the new Astrobot game, which is coming on September 6th, which is great. Because it's like, all right, like early. Because the Concord, I was surprised, was launching August 23rd, which is earlier than I expected. And you have this Astrobot game on September 6th. Now, I'm going to make a bold prediction on this one, Jez. You ready for this? Make a bold prediction. I think Astrobot is going to be a Game of the Year contender at the Keeleys.
Is that really a bold prediction?
I mean, I don't know if it is a bold prediction, but I'm gonna say it's one of my predictions. That trailer was really good. The packing game they did with the PS5 launch, for what it was, like a tech demo for the controller features, was way better than it any right to be. And apparently they're going very, very, very big with this game. I want to say let me give some of the information about this game because I know people were talking about it. Where is it? Oh yeah, and I did see Little Nightmares 3 got delayed to next year, which sucks. But what are you gonna do? I am looking forward to that. Where is this information? Oh, here we go. So there are 6 galaxies and 80 levels in this game. Each planet's unique, including lush forests, sandy beaches, hot volcanoes. 15 new abilities that take advantage of the dual sense. Over 70 new enemies, including massive bosses at the end of each galaxy. So, yeah, like, I have the feeling that this game's going to be absolutely stellar. And I, for one, can't wait for it. Like, honestly, looking at the rest of the games coming up at the end of the year so far that we know of, like, we got Warhammer I'm interested in playing for sure. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, absolutely. Indiana Jones, Avowed, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm not lying when I say Astrobot is probably almost at the top of that list, alongside like Indiana Jones. Seriously, like I really love machine games, and I like Indiana Jones. Like Astrobot is right there as like one of the games I'm looking forward to the most the rest of the year.
I've never played an Astrobot game, but it looks cool, man. Like,
it is really cool. It is really well done, and it seems like they took it to the next level. So very excited.
In the context of Xbox, this has sort of generated some discussion. Does Xbox need some kind of mascot?
Xbox needs good games. That's what they need. So,
bro, I thought you liked Did you not like Hellblade? They
No,
just
of course.
released a good game.
I liked Hellblade. I think Hellblade's a good game. Other people don't think it's a good game, though.
Who doesn't think it's a good game?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, plenty of people on the internet don't think it's a good game.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're just saying that. You don't actually mean it, though.
Oh man.
Do you think Xbox needs a game like this? I guess that's the question you were gonna pose.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier. When we were ribbing Zedox for working 1 hour.
1 hour. Yeah, the Mojang employees. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like it because I do think it's important for the health of the platform that you get new users in.
Bro, and they have you could do like a Crash game that's kind of Xbox based, because one of the cool things about Astro
all this stuff would be multi-platform though, because Microsoft only focuses on sales, and it's like, well, what about your platform? And it's sort of like
one of the things
that whole debate about how important is the platform to Microsoft anymore,
Well,
but people in chat are saying Hi-Fi Rush. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush has super great appeal to kids. You need something super cartoony like Mickey Mouse,
Well, you could create one. I mean, like they created Astrobot. It was literally just, it wasn't part of anything, and then they created it. So you could create something. I think what a lot of people like about Astrobot, outside of like the really good gameplay and the level design, is the fact that it's a celebration of PlayStation's legacy, right? Like a lot of hidden PlayStation secrets, a lot of characters dressed up as, just in the trailer, there's a character dressed up as Kratos or a character dressed up as Alloy or whatever. It's a celebration of PlayStation's long history. And Nintendo does that too with some of their stuff. Maybe not to that degree that Astrobot is, where Xbox really doesn't. There's nothing celebrating Xbox's legacy. And I think that's maybe outside of like the fact like Astrobot being a good game and being like Xbox should make something like that, but there should be something that celebrates the heritage and history of Xbox, where you could go through levels and have little Easter eggs about like Gears of War and Halo and all these sort of things. Like it's all there. It's just a matter of somebody building an idea and making a character and then putting their gameplay so you can explore and find out those cool things. That was one of the really cool things about Astrobot, was all the PlayStation related content, right? That you're seeing. And it really felt like a developer that like knew and understood the legacy that PlayStation has. And I think a lot of Xbox fans would love a game to explore that idea. So yeah, do they need to make one? I mean, I don't know if they need is the right word, but like I definitely would really enjoy a game like that celebrates and highlights Xbox's heritage and history in a very playful way like that, where it's okay, it could appeal to kids, but really this game is for the hardcore Xbox user to celebrate the history of the platform and all that stuff, right? Like I think it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing I'll put to Xbox people while I'm here is like, do you have a play for Xbox when it comes to younger gamers? That isn't just
Jez, Call of Duty and Candy Crush and
Yeah, but they're on every platform. I mean, like if you want to make kids loyal to Xbox, is that even something they care about anymore? Or do they just think like there's just no way that kids will be loyal because now kids are only loyal to platforms like Roblox and stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, well, interesting.
There is a point there that Roblox was exclusive to Xbox for many, many years.
It was.
To think of it.
Yeah. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you do us a big favor, hit the like button, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Let's talk about the showcase, Jazz. Let's give our predictions. I know you wrote your article, so you might be going over some ground, or maybe you have some new info that you would kind of share with us here. So we'll go over some of these things. I guess we'll start off with really quick one, hardware. Hardware announcements. Now, it's called the Xbox Game Showcase. typically they kind of haven't really done well. Actually, last year was the year before they did announce the Black Series S. So I mean, I guess they have done hardware announcements to things. Do you think Microsoft is going to tease or announce any new hardware, like whether it's the new controller that leaked from last year, with the haptics, or a new digital, the adorably dull digital white Series X that people have seen in pictures that may or may not be real, or is Sarah Bond gonna tease, an Xbox handheld? Like, what do you think? What we got here?
Yeah, I just want to say, like, there's not going to be any showcase spoilers here. I mean, these are just predictions. Like, I don't want to spoil the show. There are things that I do know firmly are gonna be or not gonna be at the show, but I'm not gonna like put like I'm not gonna do a special Nick and just drop a list of games gonna be there. What was that all about, Nick? Spoiling the PlayStation State of Play for peeps.
Well, Nick's all about the clout.
Yeah, Nick's a hardcore.
Nick's like, here's the list of games 5 hours before the show. I'm better than you because I know. Like, why don't you have given me
you
those?
Got them all right.
Well, yeah. Right? I mean, because the show is already uploaded to YouTube, and people knew because the show was going to be in like whatever, maybe a day or whatever it was. Impress me. Give me the list of games a week out, and then I'll be impressed. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, I don't know. I've never done that because, like, I enjoy the show. I don't want to be spoiled myself. So it's kind of like, if I don't want to be spoiled myself, then I don't want to spoil it for others. But, like, at the same time, I do like putting predictions out there because it's fun, and also, I don't know everything either. I don't know everything that's going to be in the show. There's a few things that I know aren't going to be there, but I don't want to get into spoilers. But when it comes to hardware, I'll just like put out that I have no idea for sure if they're going to talk about hardware or not. And like I put in my predictions article, and this is genuinely I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like, I think the most you can hope for, like extrapolating from past events, is that maybe they do a tease for hardware, maybe like a silhouette or like just some comments from Phil, like to just be like, yeah, we're reconfirming again that there's new hardware coming, that kind of stuff, right?
So you don't think we see the white Series X all digital or a new controller kind of thing? You think it's just going to be a tease of something?
I mean, I think for at least for consoles, yeah, maybe a tease. But I think we could see a controller maybe. I mean, that Sibyl controller has been, they even had a photograph of it for ages. So maybe it's time you show that off, with some, maybe if it's not in the main event itself, because they're going to do like their live shows and interviews around it, right? Phil's going to be at IGN show, so maybe you sort of bring some of your peripheral stuff there, like your controllers, if you are doing any accessories. There's rumors they're going to do new headphones as well, I think, at some point. Because obviously they've got their existing headphones. Those probably need an update, right? But yeah, I don't expect this to be a hardware-heavy show. I think like if they're gonna debut hardware, probably somewhere else.
I think
I think you can expect a tease though.
I think they show the new Series X, the white one, and then I think they say something along the lines of, "We are proud to say we're working on an Xbox handheld," and that's really it. Like, you're not going to see it, and they're just going to say that they're working on one.
Yeah, I really, really want that. I really want them to announce a handheld, and I think they kind of need to, because they need to start like getting devs familiar with what kind of requirements it's going to have, and like, and all that kind of stuff, documentation, and like when you get to the point where you start talking to developers, that's when things leak, right? So you might as well leak it yourself.
Right. Third parties and indies. Any third parties you think could be at the show? Like for me, Star Wars Outlaws was at last year's show. It's coming out in August. I sort of expect it to be at Xbox's show again.
Yeah,
because of
I would
that.
expect that.
Something like Stalker 2 supposed to release this year.
Yeah,
I would
Stalker
expect
2
that
is
to
probably a
be
good bet.
at the show.
Something from EA, maybe.
What do you think? What do you think EA would have? Like not NCAA football or Madden.
Well, they've got a big RPG on the
Dragon
horizon,
Age
don't they?
Dreadwolf? Dragon Age Dreadwolf? That was
Yeah,
the thing.
maybe.
People were tagging you, I saw, because you could download it to the console, right? It was in the Xbox app. I'm going to say Dragon Age Dreadwolf is going to be at the Keeleys.
Okay. Is that, you mean the Summer Game Fest?
The Summer Games Fest, yes. Everything's just the
Okay.
Keeleys to me. Because you do have... Like, there was the one game that people were expecting, the Lego Horizon game from PlayStation that didn't show up at this showcase or this state of play. That could easily be at the Keeleys. As like, hey, here's a Lego Horizon game. What about something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, another Ubisoft game where because last year with Star Wars Outlaws, they were like, here's the CGI trailer, and then they kind of bookend it by saying, tune in tomorrow or tune in on this day to see the worldwide gameplay reveal of it. I feel like you could do a similar thing for Assassin's Creed Shadows, show like a quick minute and a half gameplay trailer, and then tune in tomorrow at the Ubisoft show to get the full gameplay blowout of Assassin's Creed Shadows, right?
Yeah, something like that.
But it's tough because normally, the indie games, some of them are hard to predict what shows up at these things. What about Hollow Knight Silksong? Is it finally time? Right, it's got the Game Pass deal. There were people saying, "Hey, it got a store page on Xbox, and Xbox employees were given the eye emojis. Is it time? Is it finally time to get a release date for this game?"
I would hope so, but I think like Team Cherry, like they're artists, aren't they? It's very much like it'll be done when it's done kind of thing, right? So maybe they just decided, you know what, this needs another 5 levels or 5 biomes. It's like what we are making here is the Metroidvania to end all Metroidvanias, and that's like, and it's just like, yeah, okay, so this needs another 2 years development, and Microsoft's just like, yeah, well, this is going to be a banger, so here you go, here's another $10 million. No, that's not how it works. I would hope the Silksong's going to be there, but waiting a long enough time for it already.
Yeah. Trying to think like what other, because normally Xbox
Do you think there'll be an idea Xbox montage again?
I mean, there
Or do you
usually
think they'll
always
put that somewhere
is.
else?
Or there's indie games that have Game Pass deals. Like Replaced is supposed to be coming out this year. That's a Game Pass game. You could easily see it showing up again. But yeah, third parties and indie games are a little bit tougher to kind of talk about. Let's talk about Activision and Blizzard. We know Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is the headline. I would imagine there's going to be a trailer for the game in the Xbox showcase, just like there was for Starfield. And then after the showcase is over, we get the direct where they probably show off the multiplayer and the campaign and the zombies or what have you. They'll probably make more reference to playing it on Game Pass, stuff like that. Okay, we know that. But is there anything else from Activision or Blizzard do you think we will see here? Is Overwatch 2 going to make an appearance? Is World of Warcraft going to make an appearance?
I don't think you're going to see Overwatch there, but I think there'll probably be a trailer for World of Warcraft there because World of Warcraft is launching the major new expansion probably August timeframe. So I think there probably will be a new World of Warcraft cinematic there maybe. Often what Blizzard does to market World of Warcraft is that they flex their CGI. Like Blizzard's CGI team are absurdly good, as we all know, world class. So I think like you probably see some pretty exciting CGI for World of Warcraft's next expansion. But I think what they'll probably do is they'll probably do a CGI for World of Warcraft with like the launch date for the War Within, because we don't have a launch date yet. But then we'll lead into a Diablo 4
Diablo
Vessel
4.
of Hatred
I agree.
with gameplay.
With gameplay.
And I think that'll have gameplay, because often what they do is they do the CGI as shot and then gameplay with Tracer. I know earlier you were talking about like how you didn't like it with Concord, but I think people kind of expect it with Blizzard, because like everyone knows World of Warcraft looks like a PS1 game, so it doesn't. It's like there's no deception there when they're celebrating the game with CGI, because those cinematics will be in game, but yeah, everyone knows it looks like a PS1 game or a PS2 game these days. Hey, World of Warcraft's got ray tracing now. That automatically means it's next gen, right?
Yeah.
But I think like that, because they did that with Diablo. But I suppose the difference there was like Diablo's CGI really did set the tone for what the game actually looks like. Because Diablo 4 looks fucking fantastic. Like, say what you will about Diablo's gameplay, whether it's not for you or whatever, and the Loot Reborn update has really, really, really improved the end game a lot. There's still things I don't like about it, but it has improved things a lot. But the game looks fantastic. But I think Vessel of Hatred, Diablo 4 expansion, will show up there probably, and that'll be actual gameplay, a look at features, a teaser for the story, and that kind of thing. So I do think Blizzard will have a presence there.
Yeah. So I agree with Diablo 4 for sure, because that expansion's coming. COD's obviously there, and World of Warcraft makes sense. Live service stuff. Do you think we get a sneak peek at the new studio elsewhere? They've been
no.
like, is it no? You think that's
too early?
Okay, too early for that. Anything else? Like, there's rumors of Infinity Ward RPG. Any other, Activision projects?
No idea, man.
What about Guitar Hero? Phil's mentioned that in plenty of interviews. Or StarCraft.
And StarCraft as well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could.
Or is it just too early for those things?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no BlizzCon this year.
Right.
Blizzard is skipping this year. I think that's because they knew they're gonna by the time they usually do a BlizzCon, which is November-ish time frame, they're probably already gonna have shipped Vessel of Hatred and World of Warcraft, and there probably won't be that much to talk about. Like, do you really need a full BlizzCon just to talk about updates for Diablo, Warcraft, and Overwatch? Probably not, right? You want like a BlizzCon is usually like when you've got big new games to talk about. So like the new expansion for Diablo or the new expansion for World of Warcraft, like and on top of that, an actual new game. But maybe they tease something that's further out. Maybe that could just be like maybe Microsoft, because we criticize Microsoft sometimes for announcing things too early, like your Everwild and stuff like that. Which, by the way, I've heard Everwild's still coming. So, like, if anyone out there is like, because Everwild's silent, the game's cancelled. No, Everwild is not cancelled. It's still trucking along. It's I don't know what the game is, but it is some kind of online game, multiplayer. We knew that from the original trailer anyway. The original trailer for Everwild showed co-op, and that's kind of what Rare does now, I think, is multiplayer experiences. So yeah, you can expect Everwild down the line. I don't know if Everwild will be at the show though. Maybe that's too early. But
too early for a game revealed in 2019.
Yeah. But that's my point. Is that they often announce things really early, and sometimes that can be an annoying thing if like there isn't a lot of other stuff to talk about. And they do have a lot of stuff that's coming sooner. So like while the wait for Everwild is maybe agonizing, at least we know it's coming. Maybe they do the same thing with StarCraft. Because Phil always talks about StarCraft in a lot of those interviews. And I think it would be heavily irresponsible of Phil to torment long-suffering StarCraft fans to talk about that so much and then not put your money
See,
where your mouth is, right?
for
So
me,
maybe you show StarCraft 3 graphic or something.
for me, like I don't care about StarCraft. It's not my thing. I know the impact that StarCraft has, and I know how voracious the audience is for seeing that game come back. So to me, StarCraft is your end of show announcement, like our one more thing. Oh, and by the way, boom, StarCraft. But I also sort of feel like StarCraft would be better served as an announcement at a BlizzCon, right? Because you're here at an Xbox show with Blizzard and
Yeah,
Activision
maybe.
Blizzard, right? There is
But
no
maybe
end.
that's how you put your mark on Blizzard. Maybe that's how
Maybe,
you like. Maybe that's how like you really reach out to PC players and say, look, we are serious about PC. Here's this absolutely hardcore PC legend, you know, to,
maybe.
to prove it. Maybe that's the play there.
I don't
And
know.
then
I
like
also,
you
but I
tease it
also,
at Xbox, and then you do the full blowout at a BlizzCon.
yeah, I also sort of feel like that needs to be like an end of show thing. And we already know they're doing Call of Duty as like the showcase, where like you don't really have a final game like you normally would. So I feel
Mm,
like you hold off on a StarCraft announcement until later. Um,
maybe.
but I mean, no, you make a good point. I also want to keep in mind. I want to get like when we go through this, I want to get your what you think is going to open a show and what you think is going to close the show. Right? We know Call of Duty is going to close the show, but what it will be the last game showed. Like last year was Clockwork Revolution, for example, and they opened with Fable. So I kind of want to get your take on that as we go through this stuff. But a lot of people have been wondering about Activision Blizzard's plans for Game Pass. One of the games dropping. Do you think we finally get? Because in my eyes, I think this showcase, or maybe it's a Newswire blog, but I think at this showcase, they come out and say, starting today, X games are dropping on Game Pass, and then you can look forward to a selection of games dropping every single month moving forward. Right?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
do
a
think
lot
I
of
do
people
think they
have been
drop
hoping
something that
for
day. I think they
backwards
drop something that
compatibility.
day.
Like what?
I don't know what, but I'm just saying I expect them to start talking about their plans, and I expect them to drop some. Whether it's like, oh, Spyro and Crash, you can play them now on Game Pass, and Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, or whatever. I expect there to be some drops that day on Game Pass for some of that stuff, and then
Yeah, I agree.
they'll have plans moving forward about like they'll drop some stuff in July and drop some stuff in August and drop some stuff in September. I know everybody wants that to be a one big drop. I mean, who wouldn't want that to be? But I think
Hmm.
Xbox has learned from the Bethesda drop where they dropped everything at once, and I don't think that really I don't think they liked the data that they saw from it. Where there's like, oh, we should have just done it like a game or two games a month or something to string it along. I think that's what they'll do with the ABK is it'll be a steady drip of games over a course of time.
Yeah, I don't think I think it'd be a waste. I mean, it'd be nice if they all dropped at once, but I think like purely from a business perspective, it would be a waste to not use this catalog to reduce your monthly churn, right?
Yeah.
Churn being people unsubscribing over time. So yeah, I mean, what game would you like to see drop first? Is there anything nostalgic you want to play first? For
No.
me, it's Singularity. I
I
want
mean, so
Singularity.
you think we're going to get new back compat announcements alongside this?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, sure.
Okay.
It's part of the.
It's part and
Surely
parcel.
that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, sure. I Singularity would be great. You know, you go back and do some licenses and get the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games or the Transformers games. I think people would really enjoy those if you could do that. I don't know if they would. Isn't like Wolfenstein 2000 one of the Wolfensteins that Activision had the publishing rights for, right? Wolfenstein 2009.
Mm,
Yeah,
I
there's
think some of the licenses there probably make that complicated, but you would have thought at least games didn't have a ton of licensed stuff in them. Like, well, I don't know. Maybe Singularity and Prototype do have licensed music in them, and maybe that complicates
Maybe you get
things,
the
and maybe
Deadpool
doesn't.
game to try to be like, hey, Deadpool, we got a Deadpool game and a Deadpool movie coming out. Right?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you could even get Ryan Reynolds to do a little promo for it. Hey, maybe Ryan Reynolds would just be on stage. Bring Ryan Reynolds out. Maybe they announce a new Deadpool game.
That would be cool.
Fuck it. Develop. Maybe that's what Infinity Ward's making. Infinity Ward's making a Deadpool game with. No.
So that's Activision and Blizzard. I'm very curious to see what Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is, because some of the devs are talking about like, hey man, you ain't ready for this. It's been in dev for a long time. 4 years now, especially after last year's game, which was only in dev for a year and a half, and people shit all over it, myself included, because it was like, you could definitely tell.
Mid.
It's almost like one of those things where it's like, man, it was a miracle that came together as kind of well as it did, even though it was kind of like, as a Call of Duty game, was very disappointing. But it's like, oh, you put this together in a year and a half? That's crazy. Not good though, but it's like, kudos to you for putting it together so quick. So I'm very curious to see 4 years of development of what that could do. Because, and I guess there's always like the camps of like, are you a Modern Warfare guy or a Black Ops guy? I've always been a Modern Warfare guy, an Infinity Ward dude. Not to say that I didn't like the Black Ops series. I know Black Ops is extremely popular. And the last Black Ops game, Cold War, which came out in 2020, was pretty good. So, very interested in seeing what Treyarch has in store for this year's game. And man, they started the marketing early. Seems like they're going to hit that pretty well. So, that's Activision Blizzard. We have Bethesda. Fewer studios this year, so we don't need to worry about, unfortunately, Tango Gameworks, which still hurts. Arcane Austin, Roundhouse, and Alpha Dog. I guess I'll just throw this out here because Arcane Leon, Blade, me and you don't expect anything from them, right? Blade's not going to be there.
No, it's too early. Probably.
Yeah, too early for Blade. He said, "Let him cook." Dinga, let him cook. Blade's not going to be there. It probably won't even be there next year either. You probably won't see it again until 2026, which that's fine. I guess, we know Indiana Jones is supposed to release this year. I've heard that, there's actually going to be, people are going to get hands-on with certain games after the showcase. Two, one of them being Avowed and one of them being Indiana Jones. So, that sounds pretty cool. Indiana Jones, we're clearly going to see it again. But I guess, like, what do you think we'll see of it? More gameplay? Because we did get a pretty decent look at the game in January. So do you think we get more of a, I don't know.
Maybe more combat. Maybe
more combat trailer?
Something like that.
With the release date? I mean, do you have any... I know Tom Warren, his articles were saying they were targeting a December release. Do you think a December release is good for this game? Let's assume, hypothetically, that Tom's right and it comes out in December. Because I've talked to a few people that aren't happy it's coming out in December. One being that if it's a really good game, it misses the windows for award season. Or even people buying stuff for relatives that it would miss, the all-important Black Friday stuff if it comes out in December.
Mm.
Do you think about that at all? It's like, or do you just ship it when it's ready? Should they, if it's in December, should they just wait and put it out in like January or March? Like, what are you expecting to see from Indiana Jones, I guess?
I suppose it's weird because you've always got to consider the Game Pass angle, right? Do you need something for that month for Game Pass, even if it means potentially losing out on some retail sales, which you've got a big competitor like say for example Call of Duty. I would move it away from Call of Duty as much as possible, especially if Black Ops is going to be as good as everyone thinks it's going to be. Like you say, it's been in development for a long time. So maybe you do drop some of this stuff away from there, maybe. But the thing is, I think a lot of devs are actually doing this now. A lot of devs look to avoid Black Ops and Call of Duty, and then we end up with saturated Januaries and Februaries. Do you remember like a couple of Februaries ago, like how saturated it was? It felt like
Yes.
every dev had the same idea of like, fuck it, let's just move to January and February. No one releases games then. And
Mm-hmm.
then you look at the slate and it's like, oh shit, everyone's releasing their game then.
Yep.
You know? So maybe you just release it when it's ready. I don't know.
Yeah, I would imagine we would see a release date for the game. So it's
Yeah.
no surprise Indiana Jones will be there. So I guess we'll move to id. Doom Dark Ages, as Tom Henderson said in his article. He also said it. Nate the Hate came out and said it's also multi-platform. You came out and supported that report as well. So yeah, what do we see?
Doom is definitely
So
multi-platform.
Doom is definitely multi-platform. Doom was probably most likely at the show as well. Is it going to be a CGI trailer? Is it going to be a gameplay trailer? How soon does the game release in your? Is it a 2025 game? Later, 2026 game?
I think that's going to be gameplay.
You think
with
so?
maybe a bit of CGI. I think they'll probably do what they did for Fable, the last Fable trailer, where it's like there's a bit of CGI and cutscene shown, interspliced with some in-engine gameplay footage. Because I think like you'll really wanna make people know that the game still has guns in it. Like that's the thing I keep hearing from people. Like it's because it all leaked that it's a medieval theme, you know, and a lot of people have said to me like, "Oh God, if it's medieval, does that mean like we got a crossbow or a bow and arrow?" Like,
Like a
but
sword?
no, it's still. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some medieval weapons in it, like like maybe like some melee combat or maybe maybe a crossbow and stuff like that. But there's still going to be guns in it. I think it's going to be like steeped in that Knight Sentinels lore, and there is going to be guns in it as well. So even if it is like a medieval setting, there's going to be time travel shenanigans going on or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think you have to show. I think you have to show some gameplay with that, or at least something that's representative of gameplay.
Okay.
Um,
Do you think it's a game that's coming sooner rather than later? Like we talking March of next year? Because Doom
I think
Eternal
next year,
next year.
2025 for Doom.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay, that's
reckon
good.
next year.
Um.
Just my expectation.
Yeah. Bethesda Game Studios. I think we both would agree that Starfield's DLC will be their Shattered Space with the release
Yeah,
date.
I'm curious about this because I noticed like I can't remember if someone said this to me on Twitter or if I read it on Reddit or something like that. So if you're the source of this, um, I apologize for not remembering who said this to me. But someone noticed that Bethesda's describing Shattered Space as an expansion, not a DLC. And they said they haven't used
Is
the
there
word
a
expansion.
difference between the
Well,
two?
they haven't used the word expansion to describe one of their DLCs for a really long time, since Shivering Isle, in fact. Because like oftentimes like with the Fallout 3 DLCs and stuff like that, they're often very contained sort of experiences, you know. Obviously there are bigger ones and smaller ones, but like some of the like Operation Anchorage, for example, that was quite a small DLC. But then like Far Harbor was a much bigger DLC. But was it really expansion sized? And I do notice that companies do make the distinction between DLC and expansion. They do, because when I was at CD Projekt Red, all the PR people were joking because like the PR people kept referring it to as a DLC to each other, but then like Radek, the lead PR guy, was like, "No, don't call it DLC, call it an expansion," because they really wanted you to know how big it was, you know, and set expectations that it wasn't. It was more than just a little map, a little area, or a little side quest or something. It was actually a full blown thing. So what I'm hoping for with Shattered Space is that it fills in a lot of the gaps that Starfield has. Like it improves the points of interest. It improves some of the obviously the exploration. the ground vehicle is actually. I'm worried that the ground vehicle is going to be something lame, like a jetpack, a more powerful jetpack or something, and that's their traversal solution, or it's going to be some kind of hovercraft or something like that. Because I think a lot of people want a ground vehicle, but we've never really seen Creation Engine have ground vehicles. Like famously, the trams from Fallout were like a train car grafted to an NPC's head, who then walked under the ground. Did you see that from back in the day?
Yes.
So like the mechanics of having a ground vehicle would be a new sort of. Oh, so people said they already showed the vehicle. It's a rover. So yeah, okay, so it's a rover then. But I just like, yeah, seeing like that it's okay then, like how then I don't know where I missed that. How did I miss that rover? But Cameron says a horse is a ground vehicle. Well, is it though? It's still kind of like
A
an
horse
NPC
is a
walking
ground
around.
vehicle. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean it kind of is. But like yeah, like Lucas in chat says mechs would be cool, because there's all
There's a whole
those mech
graveyard over
graveyards in
them.
the game.
Yeah.
A whole graveyard of mechs, and I know like mechs are technically illegal in the universe, but you're telling me that pirates wouldn't have their hands on a mech and build one, um, and stuff like that. So I suppose there's a lot of unanswered questions there. Like I just hope that the scale is there,
Right.
because there's a lot of the Starfield's had a lot of criticisms, and I think there's a lot of feedback they could act upon and give it that sort of cyberpunk revival, like Cyberpunk had with Phantom Liberty and stuff.
I mean, they
But we'll
just
see.
had all those updates, the 60 frames mode for console, that last stuff. So it'd be interesting if they have an expansion that kind of adds more to the game and even more bunch of like quality of life stuff. I'm very interested in playing the expansion, so I'm super curious to see what's in it and when it's releasing. You would imagine the year anniversary of the game's release, like September 4th or whatever it is. You would think that would be a good time frame for it. We'll see. I guess ZeniMax Online, Jez, they've been working on something for like 4+ years now, 5 years. Whether it's a new MMO or whatever, is now the time to finally reveal this bad boy? I mean, they just folded in Roundhouse to, into ZeniMax Online. So, do you think not only do we get Indiana Jones at the show with the release date, not only do we get the reveal of Doom: The Dark Ages, do we also get the first reveal of the ZeniMax Online's game?
I would hope so. I mean, they've been working on it for a long time, multiple studios. It seems like a really huge investment. They announced Elder Scrolls Online is made how many billions of dollars? $2 billion or something like that. Like Elder Scrolls Online is a huge game, even though like I'm not a huge fan of it. Is Joaquin in the chat? Joaquin's always talking about how great Elder Scrolls Online is. I'm not a fan of that game. So, but like the way it's been supported is really impressive, and the idea of having something that's the live service is handled really well, and the idea of having a live service that's handled really well, but with better, more modern feeling gameplay, that's really exciting to me. I would personally, I'd hope that it was like either Fallout, Starfield, or Elder Scrolls related, but apparently it's a completely.
I
new
mean,
IP.
they've said new IP, so
New IP, so a completely new IP. That's intriguing to me. Like, is it sci-fi? Is it fantasy? Is it more contemporary modern? Maybe something like that. Also, I just want to throw a side in here. I have no idea how I missed the fact that there's footage of the Starfield rover. I found it now. Like
yes.
he's actually full-blown ground vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea I missed this. It's only like 2 seconds of footage, but it's there. I have no idea how I missed this. Because in my head, I was like, well, the Creation Engine doesn't support vehicles.
Well,
like
now
that.
they know it will. So there you go.
Yeah, so that makes me really excited, because now you can imagine Fallout 5 having a Mad Maxian kind of edge now. Oh, that'd be so sick, man. If like the Fallout 5 map was like super huge, and then to get between settlements, you have to like Mad Max a custom-made vehicle across a freeway or something. Oh man, that is so hype. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I would like to think that we're gonna see ZeniMax Online's game here. I mean, unless they're just not ready yet to show it, but I've been working on it for a while. I'm with you. I'm kind of leaning towards that we do see what it is with the CGI trailer, like full CGI trailer, kind of like the Blizzard trailers where they have like CGI for their MMO stuff, and we see what it is. Anything Fallout related, like the last few shows have always had a segment where Pete Hines comes out and he talks about Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online. Pete Hines is no longer there, but I would imagine there will be something Fallout related, considering they just had a Fallout 76 event, and with the popularity of the TV show. So you can probably bet all the money in the world that Fallout 76 will show up again. I guess the question is...
Well, they just had that Fallout event in London.
Well, that's what I just said.
I imagine...
Yeah. But I'm talking about...
The reveal of that content will be...
Do we get a reveal of the Fallout 3 remaster? Do we get a logo for Fallout Chicago from Obsidian or whoever might be making a new Fallout game? Just as like, hey, these are coming? What do you think? What kind of Fallout content we looking at?
Probably just 76.
Okay. I sort of agree with you. Just 76, yes. Would you mind a logo announcement of like a new Fallout game if it was just the Metroid Prime for it? By the way, here's Fallout, Arkansas.
I think they've expressed regret about revealing Elder Scrolls too early, I think. Haven't they? I think they said the only reason they revealed Elder Scrolls 6 was because they knew people would be upset if they announced Starfield without also announcing Elder Scrolls 6. So I don't think they necessarily feel an urgency to announce Fallout 5. They did just say, Todd did just say in Variety they're making plans and stuff. Everyone in chat's saying Fallout Chicago.
Hell yeah, that's what
Would
I
you
want.
like that?
Fallout Chicago. Let's go. You tell me you wouldn't play a Fallout Chicago?
I mean, I play Fallout anything, bro.
Yeah, that is true. You would.
So yeah, sum me up.
So I think we'll just see a Fallout 76 and probably even Elder Scrolls again because they do love their live services. I guess we're gonna move to Xbox Global Publishing. Do you feel anything from Global Publishing? We're gonna have Contraband, Towerborn, reveal of if they're still working with IO Interactive for Project Fantasy. Anything from Global Publishing in your eyes? Because I feel like we'll see Contraband this year, for sure. And I would even say Towerborn, but I mean, I guess people are playing Towerborn. It's in beta. So I think we'll see Towerborn, and I'll say I think we see Contraband. I don't know. What do you think?
I personally don't think we'll see Contraband.
Oh, no Contraband. Okay.
No.
All right.
And the reason for that is like I've heard that game has hit some development roadblocks.
Again, people have been saying that for years at this point.
Yeah, I suppose so. But they lost their lead developer, which I think threw a wrench in the works. And with regards to just general development issues, but maybe those have been resolved. That's probably outdated information at this point. So maybe Contraband will be there, but I'm gonna guess no. I'm gonna guess no Contraband. But
what about Towerborn?
Global Publishing's Towerborn's almost certainly going to be there.
Okay.
Maybe in a brief clip or something.
Release date?
I would hope so for a release window at least. I mean, Towerborn's got this ongoing closed beta test going on right now. It's under NDA, but a lot of people aren't really listening to the NDA. There's a lot of Towerborn information floating around out there. So yeah, maybe we get a launch window for Towerborn. I think Towerborn's going to be a lot of fun. A really cool sort of couch co-op successor to, Castle Crashers and stuff. But
Do you think Towerborn's
are you
releasing
gonna
this
play
year?
it?
Yeah, I'll check it out. Do you think it's releasing this year?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Do you expect anything else from Global Publishing? Even like World Edge, Age of Mythology Retold, Aura History Untold. I think it's Aura History Untold, right? I feel like Aura's this year was in the developer direct, right?
I think maybe we get launch window for Arrow, maybe. But what I really want, Rand, I really want to see something new, man. I really want to see something new out of Global Publishing. Because a lot of these games, like Arrow, we've seen them repeatedly, you know. And I think there's only so many ways you can. Everyone knows that Arrow History Untold is a civilization game. I don't think you need to remind everyone of that.
Right.
So, like, maybe you just do a quick sort of like, yeah, this is the launch window.
That's what I would say, like a quick minute trailer. Just like you sort of figure like Microsoft Flight Sim would show up at the show, but you don't need to show a 2.5 minute trailer for it, right? You just be like, here's Microsoft Flight Sim and here's the release date, and boom, you're done, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I want to see something new, man. I want to see something
like
new.
IO Interactive's game or a new project, like the Rocksteady people. Are they even close?
What, isn't People Can Fly working on a game?
People Can
for them as
Fly,
well?
Project Maverick that they've talked about, which apparently
I think
reached full development, as they said recently.
I think we have to see Project Maverick.
What,
If they're talking about it's full development now.
what about
let's see.
Certain Affinity? Project Suerte,
Yeah.
your Monster Hunter thing.
I don't even know if that still exists, man.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of different choices they could choose there from. So I don't know.
Yeah, might not even exist though, bro.
I don't know. I'm gonna guess Contraband. I'll say Towerborn, and Flight Sim for sure. Aura, that's 4 right there. I think that's it.
What? How about this? Power World.
Power World. Okay.
Do we see a big reminder that Power World exists and that there's maybe new content coming? Because Power World is through Idea Xbox, but Idea Xbox is basically the digital publishing arm for Xbox. You know, they're sort of interlinked with. They are interlinked with.
Yeah, I could see it being at the show.
Global Publishing.
Like an update. I mean, because I would imagine, like I said, Fallout 76 will be there. Elder Scrolls will be there. You know, when we get to Rare, I would imagine Sea of Thieves would be there. Sea of Thieves is always at these shows, no matter whether people want them to be or not. Although I was thinking maybe they skip this year and they show up at a Nintendo show instead to announce the Switch 2 port for Sea of Thieves. You know, unless they have some new collab they're working on, like they did with like Monkey Island or
One Piece,
like Pirates
collab.
or something, where you could do that. Maybe it's like, well, we don't have anything really new to show for the thing, but we are planning on being on Switch, so maybe Sea of Thieves shows up at a Nintendo show instead of the Xbox show. But I don't know. I want to know, what do you think opens the show?
Man, I hate this, right?
You hate this? You hate picking?
I hate doing these predictions. You do this every year, right?
They're fun, bro.
You do this every year. You say what opens the show, what closes the show, and then you always do a victory lap because you always guess it right because you know what ends.
No, I
ends
don't.
the show.
I do not.
And then when I guess it wrong because I don't know, but you know because you pretend you're not an insider when you're actually probably the most prolific insider secretly.
That's a lie from the devil's.
You fucking know.
No.
You always fucking know what opens and closes the show. So I hate this segment. You do it every fucking year. So fuck my prediction. What's your guess, Rand? What opens and closes the show? Rand, not insider, not guessing.
So, I mean, we know what's closing, COD, but that's not what we're, you know. And I mean, I got it wrong last year because Clockwork Revolution, I was like, I never said anything about that. So, to me, I think, you know, like, because I say here, Xbox Studios Coalition, you know, and there's been long-standing rumors about Gears Collection and Gears 6. I think Gear 6 closes the show. As in, it's the last thing you see before Phil takes the stage, says whatever Phil needs to say, and then we get into the Call of Duty Direct. So I think
You've dashed my hopes now because you were saying StarCraft earlier.
Well, no, I was saying.
And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, no, you were saying like, what if StarCraft closed the show?
Well, I was saying
like,
no.
Shit,
no,
Rand knows.
no.
Rand knows. Shit.
But
hang on. But now that I've called you out for knowing, maybe you're trying to throw me off the scent. And now you're like, oh yeah, Gear 6 closed the show, but actually it's going to be StarCraft.
No.
Because you actually secretly know.
I would say it's not StarCraft because to me that's a BlizzCon announcement, and
Okay.
that's not like, and that's also, this is the last thing. And the problem with this year's show and last year's show is you have something coming right after, so like the impact is lessened. And I feel like StarCraft is such a big announcement that you want it to be the final thing and not followed up by something, which is why I wouldn't do a StarCraft announcement. But I do feel it's time for the Coalition to come out of hiding. I do think we'll see Gear 6, and I do think it's the last game that shows up before Phil takes the stage to introduce Call of Duty Direct or whatever. As for what opens the show, in my opinion, I think you open the show with Perfect Dark. Very similar to last year, where people were like, what's up with Fable? Where's it at? It's been 3 years. We haven't seen it. What's going on with this game? And then immediately, as soon as the show starts, first thing you see is Fable. And it looks fantastic, right? I'm looking to replicate that again. And what is the other game that people are like, what's going on with this game? It's Perfect Dark. 4 years now. We haven't seen it, essentially. Or like 3.5 or whatever it's actually been. Talk about the game not being good, what have you. To me, that's your instant you started off. But I'm even thinking of going even like you wow people to start with. You go boom, boom, boom. Because last year they did 3 games to start before they kind of like welcomed you to the Xbox Game Showcase. Last year they did Fable, rolled into South of Midnight, and then rolled into Star Wars Outlaws, right? And it was a fantastic start to the show, made everybody hyped, right? We got to see a game that we hadn't seen in a while. We got to see a new project from a new developer's like first look at a project, and a big third party game. And then Sarah Bond came on stage and whatever. I think that's a good way to do a show. And in fact, I'm looking to replicate that. So I'm going to say they do the same thing here. So you open up with Perfect Dark. It takes Fable's place. Perfect Dark, you see what it is, get some gameplay. You don't really need to do a CGI. Okay, Perfect Dark looking good. You don't give a date because who knows when, right? You don't give dates far in advance. And then Jez, you want to go with that. So you hit him with that right jab, right? And here you come, and the next one is a left jab, or even like a left like body shot or whatever. And the second game you show, you move right from Perfect Dark right into the Doom, the Dark Ages. Back to back. Because I was thinking like Doom could end the show. Doom could be a show ender, a show stopper. Right? It really could. Because it's fucking Doom. And the last 2 Doom games have been incredible. But I think they're going to leave that for Gear 6. Supposing you probably could transition and say, you know what? It's Perfect Dark, and then boom, it's Gear 6. And then you save Doom for the end. But I think you're going to have Perfect Dark into Doom, and then the third game is a third-party game, and it's Assassin's Creed Shadows. Boom, boom, boom. 3 games. You know, all very big games, and that's how you start off the show.
I'm intrigued now if that's just going to be like 100% accurate.
What if it is?
If that's just 100% accurate, then everyone knows that you lie when you say you don't know, have inside information.
I'm just saying, if I was look, if I was in charge of putting together a show and I had things to choose from, that would be how I would open it up. I'd have 2 first-party games, right? 2 of the bigger ones that I could do because we still have Gears in the pocket for the end. Because otherwise, if you have
Well,
Gears,
how about this? What's a game that people are predicting is going to be there that you think won't be there?
okay, that's an interesting one. What game do I think?
What game do you think that everyone's sort of expecting to be there won't be there?
Well, it's interesting because, like I said, I was just on Defining Duke with Maddie and Cog, and we went through all this stuff. And I think both me and Maddie were very much of the opinion that Gears Collection was, in my eyes, the reason you ended with Gears 6 is because you get to the end of the show, you show off a trailer for Gears Collection, and it's releasing in August, and then you show off a really quick, hey, this is Gears 6. And then that's how you end the show with Phil and Call of Duty Black Ops. But if you want to say a game that'll shock everyone by not being there because everybody expects it to be there, what if Gears Collection isn't there? That would be one.
Rand.
That would be one, right?
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
I mean, everybody expects it to be there. I mean, I guess you could say Doom: The Dark Ages. You know, everybody expects it to be there because people have said it's there and it's coming. So that would be one, but I think everybody is also talking about Gears Collection, and we don't even know if it's real.
I don't think the Gears Collection's there.
You don't think the Gears Collection's there? Okay.
And I said last week that I don't even know if it's real, and I don't. And yeah, I don't think the Gears Collection's there.
Okay.
But I do think Gears 6 will be there.
So I think Gears 6 closes. I think Perfect Dark opens. So, yeah. 343, do we expect anything Halo related? Whether it's from 343
no.
or from Certain Affinity?
I think when Halo needs to reconnect with its fans again. You know, I know Halo Infinite's in a better place right now. Halo Infinite's in a better place right now, right? But I think like after the TV show being so poorly received, I think like when Halo comes back to the main stage, it needs to have a blowout. It needs to be like,
what if Certain Affinity is ready to show whatever their Halo project is? That's no longer a battle royale.
Do we know that they're still working?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, last year they did an interview in like November where they were talking about they had a project with 343 that was like their main project. So I don't know. I'm just Halo. Yeah, Halo has not been at the show since they released it in 2021. It's tough to say here. I'll say something Halo related will be at the show. Screw it. I think something Halo related will be at the show.
Oh, okay, so you've got to throw out something unlikely now to throw people off the scent, right? So you saying Halo will be at the show is basically a confirmation that it won't be at the show.
Oh my god, no, I don't. I
am Rand. I know your game.
Okay,
this is the classic Rand triple bluff.
Is there such a thing as a classic Rand triple bluff?
Trickle buff. Yeah.
Tickle buff.
Tickle buff. Nah, we're not going in that direction. It's too early in the day for that, right?
Like, all right, I'll say something Halo related is there. Jules wants to know. He says, "Give us Lost Odyssey." You know, Special Nick has been teasing some sort of RPG from the 360 days showing up there. Lost Odyssey would be great. He also says, any chance of Persona 6 or Kingdom Hearts 4 showing up? You know, we talked about third-party games. We know there's a Kingdom Hearts 4.
There's a lot of rumors about Persona 6.
Persona 6?
I have no idea, but Persona 6. So Microsoft and Atlas seem to have some kind of broad partnership now.
You would think that Refantasia or Mephisto, what's the game? Mephisto,
Refantasio. Someone in chat helps out. Let's just call it metaphor.
Metaphor. You would think
Yeah.
that would be at the Xbox show again. They got the marketing for that game, and they're trying to sell it. But Persona 6 would be a big announcement. If that was something to happen, I guess it's possible there. Assassin Entertainment says, Jez, can you for once and all tell the Banjo Bros that a Banjo-Kazooie game is never happening? It's time to put it to rest like Scalebound.
I have no idea, man. I mean, they've said they kind of want to do it, I think. Haven't they hinted that they want to do it?
Yeah.
And I think, like, putting Banjo in Smash Brothers definitely raised the visibility of that character, I think. People went mental when they added Banjo to Smash Brothers. Twitter crashed. Twitter literally crashed when they announced Banjo for Smash Brothers. So the Banjo Bros are out there, hiding amongst the normal people. So I won't say that it'll never happen. I won't say that Banjo will never happen. I have no evidence that it will happen, but Microsoft is... I know Microsoft is excited about their partnership with Toys for Bob, and Toys for Bob will be... Toys for Bob is like an old studio. They're a legacy studio. The founder still is the CEO, so it's better for them to be independent rather than be expected to contribute to Call of Duty and stuff like that. So I think Microsoft is excited about the way that partnership will function. And I think if we do see a new Banjo, it's going to be out of Toys for Bob. I think everyone expects Toys for Bob's next game to be Spyro, but maybe their game after that, maybe it's Banjo. Maybe it's Crash, but maybe it's Banjo. I think Toys for Bob and Microsoft are going to have a good partnership with them external. CeeLo de Brava says, "We are Legion. Banjo Bros never die." Oh man, can all the Banjo Bros shout out in the chat? Shout out in chat if you're a Banjo Bro.
Yeah.
Paris Lily on Twitter said he's the CEO of the Banjo Bros.
Yeah, he has said that. Noble says new 1 versus 100 when? Probably never, unfortunately. New Cybot with the 5. Xbox says kid games like Astrobot, nobody plays them. Super Lucky's Tale, Ukulele, Voodoo Vince, Blinks, nobody cares. Donataku with the 5. I like how Xbox fans only care about variety until we talk genres that Xbox is missing and that PlayStation or Nintendo have. Then they say they don't want it. Brett says Starfield console port announcement. Probably not at this show. I think that's more later on. Supernova.
If Starfield is getting ported, it's not this year.
Oh, no. He's StarCraft. My bad. StarCraft console port announcement. Not this year.
I thought he was talking about
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about Starfield being ported to PlayStation.
Supernova says, Jez, tell Rand how strong Gul'dan in Warcraft. I have no idea what a Gul'dan is. Or what.
Gul'dan? He's only
Gul'dan.
the coolest warlock in history.
Code 3 with 199. Finished Tomb Raider games on Game Pass. Tomb Raider and Showcase. That's a good call out for a third party. The new Tomb Raider from Amazon. Could that be at the showcase?
I'm sure Microsoft and Amazon are pretty... Xbox and Amazon, at least, are pretty buddy-buddy with the Fallout success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rodrigo, why is Jerry Seinfeld voice hosting the episode? Are you talking about me?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld. Apparently, I sound like Jerry Seinfeld. He also says, will Xbox do let's see one more thing, then boom? No, because unfortunately, we know how the show's going to end with Call of Duty Black Ops. So you really can't do that. And John Wilkes Books wants to know, Jez, are you going to go to any mansion parties in LA?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I
have been invited to a party, though.
Ooh, Jay Foley says, we have to see Forza Horizon 6 at the showcase. So, yeah, like another studio here, Playground, right, with Fable, and presumably Forza Horizon 6. I'm going to come out and say we don't see either of those games this year. I think the next time we see Fable is at the Developer Direct in January. Because you have to think...
That's a very specific prediction.
Well, no, because you have to think the Developer Direct is...
Rand.
Well, no, Developer Direct, you have to think of like how they present these things. You have the Developer Direct in January. You have the Showcase in June. You have the partner previews. Looks like they did one in March, and they're probably going to do one towards the end of the year. to me, games that showed up last year, like Clockwork Revolution and South of Midnight and Fable, won't show up this year because they're going to show up at the developer direct at the top of the month next year, top of the year. So when I say In Exile and Clockwork Revolution, I don't think it shows up because I think it's going to show up in January. When I say, Compulsion, I don't think we see South of Midnight this year at the showcase because I think it's going to be, we'll see it again at the January Dev Direct. And the same thing with Fable. I don't think we see Fable again. I think we see it at the showcase, or I think we see it at Developer Direct. And I don't think we see Forza Horizon 6 because I don't think it's this year. They've always revealed games in the year they've come out. And I think Forza Horizon 6 is going to be next year. I could be wrong. Maybe Forza's this year, and maybe we do see Fable again this year. But what do you think about those three, Jez? 3 of the new games we saw last year, not seeing again this year, but then seeing them at Developer Direct because they're 2025 games?
I think that's a pretty solid prediction, Rand.
Oh, geez, here we go.
That's a pretty good, well-reasoned guess you're putting out there, Rand. I would defer to you on this.
Well, no, I want.
Why don't we just listen to all Rand's?
You don't need to defer to me. I want to know. Like, do you think differently? Do you think we'll see Fable this year again?
No. You're trying to entrap me. You're trying to get me to say something that you know won't be true, so you can do a victory lap. I won't fall for your bullshit, Rand. I won't fall for it, bro.
I'm not trying to entrap you. I just want to know.
No.
Did you honestly expect to see Clockwork Revolution at the showcase?
No, because you said it won't be.
Oh my god, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I think.
Just leak the whole show, Rand. You know the whole show. Just leak it, bro. Just do it.
All right. What about Double Fine? You think we see anything from them? No. Okay. Mojang ain't gonna be there because they ain't working. They work an hour a week. Ninja Theory. They just shipped.
Mojang's just chilling.
Yeah, we already did.
All the other Xbox people are like working really hard, and Mojang's just there sipping a margarita, chilling.
Ninja Theory. They just shipped Hellblade, and I think it's too early for Project Mara, so I'm gonna say no. Obsidian, you could have a lot of things here, right? Avowed's gonna be there with the release date. I think we also see Outer Worlds too.
Really? With Avowed?
Yeah.
So close.
Why not? Maybe, probably not, but I'm just saying that'd be cool.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm down for that. Randall prediction.
Turn 10, nah. They're not going to be there with Rare. Do you think Rare shows up with Sea of Thieves or Everwild?
We did talk. You did mention Sea of Thieves earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Everwild exists. It's not cancelled, but yeah, maybe they're still locking down what that actually looks like. I would like to see Everwild there, but I haven't heard any hints that it could be.
What about Undead Labs, State of Decay 3?
I'm gonna bet money that's there though.
Ooh, betting money that State of Decay 3 shows up. I'm not gonna bet against you because I feel like this is a spoiler.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
I feel like this one's a spoiler that you're putting down here. We're in the show. I mean, I guess it could be at the beginning. I guess instead of my Perfect Dark, Doom, Assassin's Creed trilogy, it could be Perfect Dark, State of Decay 3, Assassin's Creed.
I think State of Decay is in the middle.
You think State of Decay is in the middle? Okay, it's a good spot for it.
Because I think the thing with State of Decay is the reason State of Decay will be in the middle is because I think they'll have to do a bit of explaining about what it is.
Explaining.
Because it's a bit more complicated.
See zombie, shoot zombie, kill zombie.
No, it's not like that, Rand. It's not like the simplistic walking simulator.
Oh my god.
State of Decay is more complex and nuanced. It's more of a grown-up adult kind of game. Whereas, like, you know, the kind of games you prefer are basically like interactive books. You know,
You're such a dick. You're such an asshole.
Silas says, Mr. Jez, at this point, Rand has probably seen the next Xbox personally. The next Xbox personally. I think Rand actually has it. I think Rand just has Phil on the phone, giving him all the information. And I think the reason Rand isn't coming to LA is because Rand doesn't need to discover anything. He knows everything already. He's already got the next Xbox sitting in his house. And, you know, he's sitting on those YouTube millions.
Yeah, I wish.
His Xbox branded Lambo.
Yeah, I wish.
Did we talk about the fact that I completely missed this? But Netflix and Mojang announced an animated Minecraft TV series.
Yeah, I saw that today. That there must have been a couple people at Mojang doing some overtime at 2 hours this week or something to announce that. Right? And I'm putting in my overtime. How many did you clock in? Oh, I had to do two extra hours. Man, you only do one. Mojang employees come to work. They sit down in their chair. They read an email for 10 minutes, take a drink, and they're like, "All right, I'm done for the day. Who's going to the bar for some mimosas? It was a productive day today."
Oh man,
I hear that's what ZX is. You know.
Yeah, is ZX in the chat?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not anymore.
No, ZX is bounced. He's like, that's my lunch break over. I'm going home.
Don says any Game Pass drops or back and pack games at the show. We mentioned that during the ABK stuff. I think Jez thinks there'll be some back and pat announcements, and we both think the ABK will drop Game Pass stuff. I do. So, yeah. So that's what we're thinking about. You know, stuff at the showcase. Obviously, our opinions can change. I still gotta make a video going over my thoughts and predictions for the show. So, but let's take some Patreon questions and then we'll get out of here. So thank you everybody for being here. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, please. We got Jez out in LA right now, which for those of you tuning in or whatever, that's why the audio kind of sounds a little wonky for him because he's on assignment. He's in a hotel room doing the show, and we appreciate him for that. We got Eric Gregory. Says, many devs and gamers have their own understanding of what makes games enjoyable or great. In your own opinion, what makes a perfect experience in a game? Well, this is a deep question. This is one of the deepest questions I've ever gotten.
It's immersion. It's immersion for me. Like, if there's too many things that sort of feel too gamey, kind of. I really like it when all the mechanics are sort of part of the game's world. From Software is really great at this. Like how the save points are actually part of the story and stuff like that. For me, that sort of elevates a game from just like being a sort of a video game to sort of being something a little bit more. Like every aspect of this game is part of the story. Like the typewriters in Resident Evil is a save point, And but also I really like getting into. I really like Endgame and making builds, Monster Hunter and Diablo and Fallout 76, that kind of stuff. Something I can really get my teeth into and feel like I've earned and worked towards something. But I'll answer the question for Rand because I already know what Rand likes. Rand likes games where you can just sort of sit back and walk forward, and then the game plays itself.
Wow. I mean, what is the perfect experience in a game? I mean, to me, it's like the perfect melding of gameplay, story, world, characters, characters you care about, gameplay that is just smooth as butter, and a story that makes you interested in continuing on to find out what happens to those characters you care about. And like, I know a game has its hooks in me when all I want to do and all I'm thinking about is that game, or there'd be times even back in the day where it was like, I'm going to wake up early before work to play this because it's all I can think about. And when you're playing the game, you don't want to be in a party. You aren't looking at your phone every 20 minutes to see what's going on Twitter or on social media. Like, you're in your own world, and that's like the perfect experience for me. Like, you nail all those things, world, characters, gameplay, all that sort of stuff, and ends up to like an immaculate experience. One that makes me like, all right, I'm going to go to bed, but I want to wake up early so I can play this stuff because, like, that's all I'm thinking about. That's
all I'm thinking about is walking.
You and your walking
forward.
sims. Dave Ramos says, can we get a hashtag Stone Cold? Hell yeah, for Jez doing his thing in LA. Jez is one of the best, and that's the bottom line. He is. First, Jez, hope your travels are going safe and smoothly. Looking forward to the coverage and your safe return home. Be well, sir. Same for you, Rand. Second, if Xbox completes its journey towards becoming a PC and the Gen 10 series of Xbox devices offer multiple game stores like Steam and EGS, sure seems like Xbox might be hopping out of the frying pan, competing with Sony via the traditional console method or model, and jumping into the fire, competing with Steam via game launchers. As a console main, my understanding is PC folks are as loyal to Steam as PlayStation gamers are to PlayStation, if not more so. It's not like competition is going to get any easier for Xbox. Thoughts? I agree with you, Mr. Dave Ramos. I think PC guys are even more loyal to Steam than PlayStation dudes are to PlayStation.
I agree. I think Steam has curated a level of brand loyalty that is difficult to. It's difficult for a publicly traded company to approach the sort of loyalty that Steam can acquire because Steam is just so generous. Like when you're a publicly traded company, a lot of the profits are sort of vacuumed out for dividends and stuff like that, right? Whereas like with Steam, they're pretty much investing back into the platform. There's no middleman taking money out of the company. It's all going back into the system, and I think like the loyalty, it's sort of like a loyalty feedback loop, right? So I don't think, Steam gamers are monstrously loyal because Steam's just been so good, But I think there's also this aspect of people are just generally happy where they are. They're happy with what they know and the familiarity of it. Like switching a platform, like most people just aren't going to bother to do it, whatever it is, So, what was the other part of the question?
Hold on, let me bring it back up. It was basically just like competition is not going to get any easier for Xbox if they invite Steam onto their own console or whatever. It's the whole like why you.
I think Yeah, I think if Microsoft is going down this path of partnering up with Steam, I think it will be more of a partnership, and I think there will be some kind of it's not just going to be a case of like, full-blown charity work. I think there will be some kind of cut involved, maybe, or some kind of partnership. Gamepass on Steam, maybe, or something like that. Because Microsoft's brought a lot of Activision's games to Steam, and Activision has, sorry, and obviously, Xbox brought all its games to Steam, so Xbox and Steam are already partnering in a way. There's sharing money between each other by sharing content. So why not just take that to another level?
Yeah. CJ says, "Happy Friday, gents. After what looks to be a pretty weak state of play showing, do you suspect there may be talk behind the scenes at Xbox that they should try to take the most of Sony's poor showing and keep more games exclusive, adjust strategies to take advantage of this, or do you think it changes nothing at all?" I don't think what Sony does at their state of play has any bearing on what Microsoft does at their own show.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I heard this showcase was finalized last week, so that was obviously before they saw the state of play.
Yeah. Sony's going to do what Sony needs to do for them, and I think I saw Push Square come out and say Sony doesn't. What was the article that I saw Push Square put out today? Let me see if I can find it. It was
something like Sony doesn't need
PS5 live streams are no longer speaking to the fans who built the brand. Is like what their new talking point is that PlayStation doesn't care, right? They're on top. They only talk when they need to talk. They're still selling millions of consoles every quarter and millions of games. Whether or not they have a good showcase or a state of play doesn't matter, because people will still buy it because it's the mainstream consoles, the default console people buy for stuff. So it doesn't matter if they have a weak state of play or a showcase, or hell, they didn't even have a showcase at all in 2022. Didn't matter. So, Sony's probably just like, all right, well, we have some third-party marketing that games we have to do for this because of, contracts and stuff, and we'll only show stuff that, developers are confident are coming. And, if the fans don't like it, the fans don't like it. Who gives a shit, essentially? It doesn't really seem like it's hurting their business whatsoever, really. PlayStation's going to do what PlayStation wants to do. Because their vocal fans on Twitter certainly didn't want PlayStation to go heavily into live service, and yet they went heavily into live service. And they didn't want them to go day and date on PC or bring their games to PC at all, and yet they're doing that. So
it's like a lot of people focus on like how are Xbox and PlayStation affecting each other when really the things that are affecting Xbox and PlayStation right now is Fortnite, the black hole game. Like more so Fortnite than anything, I think, because Fortnite is becoming this monstrous platform where people socialize on Fortnite. There's a variety of games you can play on Fortnite. It's like Fortnite is sort of almost becoming a console in of itself, kind of like what Roblox is. Like Roblox is basically a software console, because there's just so much you can do with Roblox as a platform that previously you needed hardware to do, And that's the way the industry is kind of looking at a lot of this stuff, because it's like, well, if our platform was an app like Roblox or Fortnite is, then the margins would be astronomically better, and we can let Apple and Google and Samsung and hardware manufacturers deal with figuring out how to monetize hardware. It's actually a strange and rare intersection where like you have like a hardware manufacturer that also does the content and the software, right? Because it's not like Apple's making exclusive games for the iPhone. Apple has some exclusive apps, and they have like the whole green bubble debate.
Yeah.
But what apps are exclusive to Apple and Android? Nothing really. So yeah, it's consoles are a strange sort of thing, which are sort of incongruent with today's world where you can be everywhere, everything all at once.
Yeah.
But I do think that Xbox would change strategy, and I've said this last week, that if Xbox saw their monthly active users start to decrease, or like if they actually did see a lot of people going to PlayStation, I think that would change strategy. I don't think Microsoft wants to see their console numbers go down. So,
Achievement says you should change the name of the Patreon questions to the Xbox Diaries, because some of my colleagues be writing chapters for you. Yeah, some people definitely have some long posts, but it is what it is. Nate Miller. Hey, gents, just wanted to say how hyped we all are for your prediction show and all the showcases coming up. Multi-platform 2. Fun quick question. Which game is the longest showing at the Xbox showcase, and how long is that showing?
That's an interesting question.
That's Call of Duty Black Ops 6. That's an easy question to answer.
That's cheating, though.
I mean, it is, but he didn't say besides Call of Duty Black Ops 6. He didn't say to exclude it.
I'm gonna say then.
Okay.
Exclude Call of Duty. I think State of Decay.
State of Decay. That's a good shout.
State of
I like
Decay.
that.
If State of Decay is at the show, I think it is going to be a bit of a longer showing
Yeah.
because I think maybe they have to go over a lot of systems, show how the game's been upgraded.
I agree with you.
I don't think it'll drag out, but I think it'll just be maybe a little bit longer. So like instead of like a 2 minutes, maybe that's a 3 or a 4 minutes.
No, I actually kind of agree with you on that one. Fordebrand.
Rand agrees.
Hey gents, happy Friday, and Jez, I'm super jealous you're in LA right now. I just had one question about Silent Hill 2. Do you both feel confident about the game? I sure don't, and I'm kind of upset with Konami and Bloober Team. Thanks, fellas, and have a great weekend. Jez, you gotta launch a nuke in 76 soon. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this earlier, and both me and Jez are kind of very much super skeptical of Silent Hill 2.
No optimism whatsoever from me.
Yeah.
The 1-2 punch of Bloober Team and Konami is just a recipe for disappointment, I think.
There's just something.
But I could be wrong.
There's just something off about that game. But we'll see. Laser Wolf, Jez, what are you looking forward to the most while you're in LA at SGF?
Can I even say?
I mean, I would just say I'm looking forward to the most seeing my friends. There you go. That's easy.
Not true. Screw that. Screw friends. I thought he meant games. And obviously, like, I am looking forward.
Well, you can't say the games because I'm sure that's embargoed, right? So.
I mean, I can just check here. I'm going to check very, very quickly if I can say. Can I say? There is one specific game that I'm slated to play next Saturday that I'm absolutely incredibly excited to play. I can't say what it is, I don't think, but you'll know it first, you know. And I think maybe some people can probably guess what that will be. But yeah, there is one game.
Okay.
A certain game I've got 1,000 hours in, and I'm looking forward to playing that.
Silas, the land's in the same country, and I'm feeling the extra Xbox 2 energy. The question is for Randall emotional and feelings-based Jez. With Xbox seemingly transitioning to a more radical play in any device strategy, how do you guys feel about it on a more personal level? You guys have talked the nuts and bolts aspect of this play, but how do you feel about it personally? Personally and professionally, the brand has been good to you guys. Jez, you have kind of built your career off the backs of Don Matrick, Phil Spencer, Xbox, and Windows Phone. Rand, you have developed a brand as a creator, made lifelong friends, and live a lifestyle most of us can only dream about because of Xbox. That's not true whatsoever. I was just curious if you guys have any personal feelings about this shift. I mean, the play in any device strategy has kind of been a thing for a while. I don't really care. I don't really use it. I don't play on my PC. I don't play in handhelds.
I think he means like, are we concerned it's going to affect our platform?
Well, if he meant like the whole multi-platform strategy about gaming games to PlayStation, that's different. That's like different. You know, at least he didn't. I don't know. I guess you could say play in any device doesn't matter. If you want to say and change it to that, then you know you can't really, you know, you can't stop or change what a big corporation is going to do. So you just roll with the punches. Yeah, I don't really feel any specific way about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's potentially going to be a bad thing. I think Microsoft has done these short-sighted decisions before. We've seen it with Windows Phone, and now, you know, Satya's crying because OpenAI has made a partnership with Apple. And it's like, bro, you don't have a mobile platform. Why wouldn't OpenAI make a deal with Apple? You know, so like Satya's there now regretting that they're through in the towel with Windows Phone, and I kind of feel like Xbox is doing itself a disservice by not having more faith in the potential of their platform. You know, and there could come a time where it'll be like, oh shit, maybe we should have invested more in the platform. You know, for whatever reason, you don't want to completely hand away all the keys to your entire platform to competitors, which is what they've done with mobile. You know, they've given all the keys to all their mobile stuff to Apple and Google, and now they've got all these problems with it. So, like, if Microsoft gave all the keys to their gaming empire to Apple, Google, Steam, and PlayStation, they're going to eventually run into similar problems down the line as well. So, I'm skeptical about that as from an analytical perspective, but from a personal perspective, I don't really care. Like, when I was younger, when my PC broke when I was younger, and I didn't have any money, it was always like a big deal because it was like, oh God, now I'm not going to have a computer for the next 6 months while I save up to replace whatever part had broken, right? But nowadays, like, you know, I've got a job and like I can just ensure that can stay in the PC ecosystem, which obviously isn't going anywhere. So from a gameplay point of view, I don't really mind that much. But I think analytically speaking, I think it could be a mistake. But we'll see. I could be completely wrong.
Charging Buck says, "What's up, guys? I hadn't played Oblivion since it originally came out, and I thought I would load it up on the Series X. It's crazy the magic they put in those back compat games to get them to run even better. There was an Oblivion remastered mentioned in some of the leaked court documents. My question is, do you think we could see this being revealed at the showcase? Keep up the great work and have fun in LA, Jez." I mean, I think we
did talk about that. Yeah. I think it could. I think it could definitely be there. It would probably be there before the Fallout 3 remaster.
I would agree with that. I think the Oblivion remaster is earlier than the Fallout one. Will it be this year?
Yeah.
I don't know. Good old Collinwood says, "Hello, Rand and Jez. With the recent leak by XB2 that Xbox plans to publish a game from the ex-Rocksteady developers and now HundredStar Studios alongside the previously announced Contraband and others, and with Sony funding Stellar Blade and Helldivers 2, is Xbox returning to a strategy of getting external studios developing games for the Xbox platform? Games such as Rise, Son of Rome or the Crackdown series? Certainly Xbox has had enough studios to keep development of new games in-house. Some of the criticisms that was pitched at Xbox was that in the Xbox One era they didn't have enough in-house studios and relied on external studios to make games. What's changed?" I don't think anything's changed.
No, something has changed.
Oh, you think something's changed?
Something's changed. Costs have changed. Sony said in their business thing.
About like California, right?
Yeah, they want to pull development out of California, but it's not just California. It's Washington, and you know, a lot of these states have astronomically higher costs than they did previously. Like developing 343 in Washington is going to be orders of magnitude more expensive than developing it in Poland or even the UK, you know. So, yeah, I do think Microsoft is thinking about, like, this is a good way we can reduce costs, is potentially, like, working with prolific studios like, you know, GSC Game World and working with 11-Bit Studio on their big Gamepass partnership for The Alters and Frostpunk 2 and stuff like that. This is a way to like reduce costs, I think. So I do think that we probably will see more of these sort of partnership projects as a way of potentially finding some good Game Pass content that can reduce churn without blowing up the bank. And I think like the Game Pass revenue funds a lot of that, you know. But yeah, I do think the costs have affected that stuff. But could we see Rise or Crackdown again? I don't know. I mean, handing off like their owned IP to other studios. I mean, we're seeing them do that with Toys for Bob, presumably that they're working on Spyro. I mean, yeah, Toys for Bob have handled Spyro in the past, but Microsoft owns the franchise. But I do think we could see more Microsoft franchises go further afield.
When I said nothing's changed, I mean, it's not like Microsoft stopped using global publishing to publish games that weren't from their in-house studios.
Oh, I get you.
That's what I mean. Like, nothing's changed. It's just they're always looking for, you know, because they always get pitched games. They get pitched hundreds of games every year. And, you know, they see some ones that they like and like, okay, Stoic pitched Towerborn. They liked it, so they signed him to a deal. The HundredStar people probably pitched whatever game there was, and Xbox saw it and they liked it, so they signed it. And it's cheaper to just to sign these studios to deals to make games for you than it is to own them. So I don't think anything's really changed. It's just maybe there's been less less deals made because of, certain factors. But it's not like Global Publishing was doing nothing and now suddenly they're doing stuff again. They've always been doing something.
Yeah.
So
it's not like they're Mojang or anything.
Yeah. Trixar for Trey says, would there ever be a chance for Xbox to spin away from Microsoft? I would say if they haven't already, probably not. So I would say no. Governor Grimm says, now that Hellblade 2 has come out, what's your most anticipated game for the upcoming showcase? It's really a tie between Perfect Dark and Doom, The Dark Ages. Mainly, I'll say Perfect Dark simply because I really want to know what that game plays like. Like, I already can picture in my mind what Doom is going to play like. Right? We've seen previous 2 Dooms. But a modern Perfect Dark, just from that, I kind of want to see it, just to see what it is, right?
Yeah.
Last Horizon. Hey guys, had an observation after listening to last week's episode. Seems like it's been a while since Jez has banned half the chat. Jez is always very much ban heavy.
Yeah, I banned some political posts today.
Gooey Cheese 42. Okay, fellas, I'm a huge kaiju fan. To help Xbox with its presence in Japan, I think now would be the perfect time for a big budget Godzilla game. With Godzilla X Kong doing really well at the box office and Godzilla -1 winning a freaking Oscar, they could capitalize on the big guy's popularity. They wouldn't be the first time they got Godzilla either. Destroy All Monsters Melee was on the original Xbox and not on the PS2. Thanks for the great show. A Godzilla game.
I think they could bring out the Crackdown destruction physics.
Yeah.
Dust that off and.
Dude, I just saw that Godzilla -1 is on Netflix now.
Oh, is it really?
I'm gonna go watch that.
I might watch that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch that.
Did you see all the discourse about Furiosa?
I did.
Selling it?
Not doing well, and basically they're not doing any more Mad Max movies because of it. Yeah, it didn't. It's high budget, and yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. A Godzilla game could be. Has there really been a good Godzilla game? I don't know.
Yeah, but there's not many games where you actually play as a monster that are truly successful.
Yeah. Plus, that's licensing. I would stay away from that. I think the last Godzilla game was like a PlayStation exclusive that was really, really bad on the PS4, if I'm not mistaken. 09C Mine. Hey, lads. Hope you both had a good week. Do you ever think there's a chance that Xbox can actually read the playing field and capitalize on it? I feel like they always make the stupid decisions when everything starts to go their way. For example, having a fantastic 2021 and then nothing in 2022, then having good positive momentum in 2023, and then throwing the whole community in disarray. Recently now, also having all these games they could use to promote Xbox, and yet I somehow predict they will use it on their multi-platform strategy and waste all the ammo they have. Sorry, tangent over. Hey man, how many times have we talked about this specific thing? Sometimes they read the playing field really correctly. It's just that they're super early. Whether it's with Kinect or like the TV stuff. Like now everything's TV. Now everything's TV. But it certainly wasn't back in 2013. Or Kinect. Hey, now everybody wants to put cameras and audio listening devices in your house and stuff, but not then. Or the digital ownership stuff. Like, I think Xbox sees or Microsoft sees where it's going to go. They're just too early where people aren't ready to accept it. And maybe that's very much like with their multi-platform push, where they feel like this is going to be the future. They're just way too early when people aren't ready to accept that that's what's going to happen. I don't know.
Well, they shove it in people's faces, and they don't position it very well. I think they're going to end up doing this with AI as well. Because, like Microsoft developed this NPU, this neural processing unit, which lets you do, generative AI tasks on the local device. I will bet money that the NPU is going to be on the next Xbox. But, already you've got people talking about potential privacy issues with the NPU. The fact that a lot of people just aren't ready to accept AI and the whole argument over generative AI being theft, stealing art or, stealing from our YouTube videos even. you know, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, like people want things like automatic super resolution, which they're talked about, which is a feature of this MPU, is that like it can upscale games magically and offload processing tasks to free up the GPU for the actual games. But I think Microsoft's going to end up like positioning this badly, and everyone's going to freak out and say it's terrible. You know, just like they did with Kinect, just like they did with TV, so on and so forth. But maybe they've learned their lessons, but I don't think they have.
Let's see.
I don't think they have.
Kraken56. Hey guys, super excited for the showcase. Do you think the first party games will show a high quality bar? Or will they fall short of fan expectations for big budget games? Thank you guys. Love the show. Well, we'll have to see. I know Fable has a big budget. Doom's got a big budget. Perfect Dark, I think, probably has a big budget. Yeah, I think this showcase will be very telling about, you know, some of that stuff for sure.
Yeah, I really do think that a lot of the games that people were skeptical about previously are going to have a really good showing, and I think like visually as well, the games are going to be impressive. Shinobi's been teasing Gears 6, and you know, being visually impressive, and the Coalition are contributing to all these games, like State of Decay, Fable, you know, even South of Midnight. The Coalition's been contributing to that as well. So I think there's like a good slate of optimism to have about the showcase.
Yeah. Lee Sanders says, after seeing how well received the Astrobot game was at the State of Play, it really echoes how much the Xbox platform needs something like that. Let's hope Toys for Bob have the reins to do something that's fun and echoes the catalog and portfolio that Xbox has. Yeah, we talked about that as well. I can't wait for Astrobot. That game's going to be so good. There's just so many games coming out that time frame. It's like there's Star Wars Outlaws at the end of August, like the 29th. And then September 6th is Astrobot. But September 9th is Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, which I'm interested in.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
Probably also right around that time will be the 1-year anniversary of Starfield for the expansion. Will be right around then. Maybe even Dragon Age Dreadwolf. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to look forward to. We don't know when Xbox is going to be putting out like Avowed or, you know, Indiana Jones or Microsoft Flight Sim or Diablo expansion and stuff. So could be really cool. But yeah, let me see if there's anything I missed here. We have a super chat here from RDX and Afet. Wish Starfield was multi so I could play with Jez. Oh, multiplayer so you could play with Jez. He also says,
come and play Fallout 76. We've got a Discord on our Discord, discord.gg/XB2. We've actually got a Fallout 76 group going. Trent Super and Forderbrand and Discarded Caboose have all been rocking Fallout 76, and we've been playing together. It's really, really fun. It's the next best thing to a multiplayer Starfield. Come play.
He also says, Jez, what are we seeing from Halo at the showcase? Jez doesn't think we'll see anything from Halo. So
I think I think what's going to happen with Halo is 343 is going to be shut down.
Oh, shut up.
And all the budget's going to reviving Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, take that as someone's going to actually assume you're being real with that. So you need to. And BT Maverick with the 10 on the Ecstasy Podcast Mag, when he wasn't sleeping, mentioned that there is another game going to PlayStation that only had one game in the series. Hasn't been announced yet. Would that be Outer Worlds 2? Ideas? I mean, it could be anything. I don't know.
Could be.
We'll just have to wait and see. But anyways, that is the show, guys. Really appreciate everyone being here on the Friday. Hope everything sounded well. Apologize for Jez's situation and his mic and the hotel in LA.
But the audio, I fixed the audio issue though. It was, I think, but yeah, it is what it is. There'll only be 2 shows on this.
Did I like boost you up to like 155%?
Yeah, at the start it kept going down. Like when I was,
but
like
even now, like I still have you at it now. But either way, whatever. We'll be doing Xbox Ultimate on Tuesday. talking about some stuff, and then we'll be back on Thursday, not Friday, Thursday for the last Xbox show before this showcase, the last Xbox 2. And then after that, we'll see. Jez is going to be really busy Sundays and Mondays, so we'll see what we can do. We'll let you guys know. But until then, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the weekend. And yeah, love you all. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Check out, Manscaped code XB2 for 20% off if you want to buy something for yourself or someone in your family. And what else, Jez?
Yeah, I'll
Keep it
definitely be
gaming?
putting I'll be putting some exclusive behind the scenes videos up
Oh.
on Patreon as well.
There you go.
You know, I don't know what that'll look like, but we'll experiment and have some fun. So come and check out Patreon. I'll put that through for like the lowest tier. So even if you subscribe at the lowest tier, then you'll get some cool videos. But yeah.
All right. We will see you guys on next week. Later.
Rock and roll, baby.